The governor will put his signature on the plan to create that new funding formula this afternoon around 2:30. A CPS special education teacher is accused of dealing ammo and gun accessories on the South Side. Brent Turpin faces multiple charges, including conspiracy to dispose of a firearm and ammunition to a known felon. Turpin has now been suspended from teaching at Kershaw Elementary. An investigation is underway following a deadly shooting involving an off-duty Chicago police officer in suburban Hazel Crest. Police Chief Mitchell Davis said two tried to rob the officer Tuesday night after he arranged a meeting online to buy a computer.
One of the subjects pulled a gun, and they proceeded to go through his pockets while they had the gun on him and take all of his personal possessions out of his pocket.
The officer then shot and killed one of the suspects while the other ran off. Chicago Police Superintendent Eddie Johnson recovering following successful kidney transplant surgery. Johnson receiving a kidney from his son Daniel yesterday at Rush University Medical Center. Doctors expect Johnson to remain in the hospital 3 to 5 days and then at home 3 to 6 weeks. Uber and Lyft are a success, so you know what's coming next. A Chicago alderman calling for more regulations on ride-sharing companies operating in the city. Alderman Anthony Beal moving a proposal through committee yesterday that would require all drivers to be fingerprinted and photographed before they can work for companies like Uber and Lyft. Also, the plan would limit ride-share surge pricing during what Beal called unforeseen emergencies like snowstorms. A former Wheaton College professor on probation for having child pornography on his computer is headed to prison. Donald Ratcliffe was sentenced yesterday in DuPage County to 3 years for violating that probation for downloading a movie that featured images of naked children. Suburban Chicago man has been given a 21-year prison sentence for sexually assaulting a child that he knew. Kane County prosecutors say the judge Wednesday sentenced Angel Gallegos Ortiz on 3 counts of predatory criminal sexual assault. An Illinois hospital says a data breach exposed patient information to as many as 9,000 people. Silver Cross Hospital in New Lenox also says there's no evidence right now that shows any unauthorized people gained access to the data. Now, the hospital plans to send out letters to patients that could be affected and will offer some identity protection to those patients who enroll by November 11. Well, we all know Sue is a superstar at the Field Museum. The museum will soon, however, be home to an even cooler event, a touchable cast of the biggest dinosaur ever discovered. The museum star attraction Sue itself will get her own gallery. New dinosaur discovered in 2014 actually is a cast made from fossil bones of the Patagonian maiorma, a giant long-neck herbivore from Argentina. It's part of a group of dinosaurs called titanosaurs. The dinosaur will replace Sue in the museum's Stanley Field Hall. Visitors will be able to walk up and touch that cast and then walk underneath the giant dinosaur. Sue will be dismantled in February and revamped with some scientific updates, and then will be placed in an entirely new exhibit all to herself. Cubs finish off a 3-game sweep of the Pirates with a 17-3 drubbing at Wrigley Field. Jose Barrios struck out 11. Twins beat the White Sox 11-1. Bears wrap up the NFL preseason against the Browns at Soldier Field. Starters are not expected to play much at all. Rookie Mitchell Trubisky will start at quarterback. The news, a service of Firestone Complete Auto Care. The technicians at Firestone Complete Auto Care know that when a tuned-up motor meets a new set of tires, the road better buckle up. Get your $70 by mail on a Bridgestone Visa prepaid card when you buy a set of 4 eligible Bridgestone tires. Whatever you drive a Firestone. 5:07, we'll have a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
On AM 560, The Answer. Your opinion counts. And we want to know how you feel about the news stories we're talking about each and every day. Make sure to vote in the M13 Graphics Opinion Express poll at 560theanswer.com. Listen for today's poll question at 10:30 a.m., 12:30 p.m., and 3:30 p.m. and hear the results each evening at 5:30. It's the M13 Graphics Opinion Express poll on 560theanswer.com.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies.
Oh, I had my joints all ached. My sciatic nerve was really bad. Like 10 hours, my eyes were so tired and heavy and almost burning. And then when I woke up in the morning, there was this nagging pain. I mean, it hurt to open them. And just in a week, like, I don't have the nagging pain anymore. My joints stopped hurting, and I'm in wood season. I'm lugging wood right now, and I'm not hurting. So that's, like, amazing for me. I'm usually really suffering. It's pretty effective. And so now, like I said, my husband and I are both taking it, and he even said his joints aren't aching as much, and he's feeling better.
Good health is only a phone call away. What are you waiting for? Don't miss your opportunity to get a free month's supply of Balance of Nature. Call 1-800-2468-751. That's 1-800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code CHICAGO.
The Ford Summer Sales Event is in full swing, and even though summer's almost over, there's still time to save with a brand new Ford from Joe Cotton Ford in Carroll Stream. Hi, it's Amy Jacobson. My family and families all over Chicagoland are getting ready for back to school and all the after-school activities. To help keep up with the busy school year schedule, you need dependable transportation with plenty of room for sports equipment, musical instruments, and all those friends. Joe Cotton Ford is ready to help you find exactly the right vehicle that fits your lifestyle and your budget with no hassles, no drama, and no high-pressure sales tactics. Just what you need for another successful school year. At Joe Cotton Ford, your satisfaction is their top priority. That's why they're one of the highest repeat customer dealerships in Chicagoland, working with generations of Ford buyers and their families. Whether they're buying their first vehicle or their 14th, be ready for another great school year. Get to Joe Cotton Ford and drive home a new Ford car or truck today. Gary and North Avenue in Carroll Stream or at joecottonford.com. joecottonford.com.
5:10. Let's get an update on your ride around town this early morning in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. Here is Jim Talamonte. Good morning, Jim.
Good morning, Mike. The Indiana Toll Road is blocked eastbound between State Road 149 and State Road 49. There was a truck fire and there is a diesel spill which needs to be cleaned up. It's got mile marker 26.8. The tollway is blocked. Traffic is diverted off at the Willow Creek Road exit near Portage. Westbound is not affected by this. South side of Chicago near Washington Park at a fire, 5800 block of South Prairie. Inbound Bishop Ford getting a little heavy approaching Ryan now. The other expressways and tollways look pretty good. There's a lot of overnight road work gone now. Lots of sports traffic tonight. The Bears are home, as Mike mentioned, so are the Cubs. In the Loop, east side of the Loop, starting today, the new Washington Wabash L station opens. This is near Millennium Park. This will serve all the elevated lines in the Loop. Places the previous stop at Randolph and the one at Madison, which closed some time ago. Traffic is a service of Rogers and Hollins. Rogers and Hollins, Chicago's jeweler for over 100 years, knows a thing or two about marking special moments. With an amazing selection and unbeatable protection plans, they're your go-to jeweler for fine jewelry to mark the start of your story. Use promo code FOREVER for 10% off online. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560. The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer starts next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast. Very latest with meteorologist Michael Stack.
A shower early, then clouds giving way to some sunshine. Breezy and not as warm today. High 72. Mostly clear skies tonight. Low 56. Mainly sunny Friday. High 71. Saturday, plenty of sunshine. High 76. I'm Michael Stack on AM 560, The Answer.
68 at O'Hare, the Lakefront, Midway, and in Aurora this morning. The next news update is at 5:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy starts now on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by M.J. Miller & Company Jewelers. Always purchasing your unwanted gold, silver, or diamonds.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. And stories keep coming out of Houston, as you expect they would. Some redeeming, some less so.
And last night, the death toll jumped to 37.
My a favorite story that I heard yesterday, Chick-fil-A to the rescue. Did you see this?
Oh, what'd they do?
Elderly couple trapped in their Houston home were rescued after calling Chick-fil-A for help.
That's awesome.
Also, getting 2 grilled chicken burritos with extra egg. Not kidding. This was actually ABC's Good Morning America had the story yesterday. We had to get out of there, so I called Chick-fil-A, said J.C. Spencer. I ordered 2 grilled chicken burritos with extra egg and a boat. And can you believe that one of the managers of Chick-fil-A, she sent her husband to pick us up, and we were so grateful. So
no, those are the Chicago
nothing Chick-fil-A
values.
can't do.
Yeah, those
exactly.
are values that I like.
Yeah.
In Chick-fil-A. Also, Uber is going to donate $300,000 in rides. Thing is, where are they going to drive to?
Do they have Uber boat?
I mean, that's the thing. They came out like, oh, we're going to donate $300,000. That's after Sandra Bullock donated $1 million. But okay, so they're trying to get in, but they're going to donate $300,000 in rides, food, and relief to families and communities.
Also, for those who want to make a donation to these organizations that are providing relief, please don't donate to the Texas Organizing Project.
It doesn't exist?
No, it exists. It's a George Soros-funded activist group, to be generous. And the Queen of Hate, as the New York Post called her, Linda Sarsour. She's this Palestinian women's march activist, anti-Semite. She tweeted yesterday, Harvey Hurricane Relief Fund, with a link to the Texas Organizing Project Education Fund, which is a grassroots lobbying and electoral organizing group. It has nothing to do with providing money or resources to the victims of Hurricane Harvey.
Oh.
So using this as an opportunity to say, I'm also for Hurricane Harvey relief, donate here, but here isn't there. It's for political activism, not charitable, not the provision of charity. Texas Organizing Project Education Fund, a nonprofit that advances racial and economic justice through community and electoral organizing. So just so you know, I mean, some of the scum that is out there trying to capitalize financially on other people's misery. I just wanted to make sure and Linda Sarsour, who we've talked about in this show before, along with Ramsea O'Day, who's been deported from this country, part of a history of violent crime, served a number of years in prison in Israel. These are the people that are organizing the left in this country, in the States.
And taking advantage of people who are down on their luck.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking about...
pretty shameless.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really, frankly, one may argue that it rises near the level of criminal fraud.
Mm-hmm.
If you're
their
taking
state's
in the money
attorney
under...
general should look into that.
Yeah. Hey.
One story, though, that broke everybody's heart yesterday was that shivering 3-year-old girl who was found clinging to her dead mother's body. According to witnesses, this happened in Beaumont, Texas, that she was trying to walk her daughter to safety. She parked her car in a parking lot, and a canal that was swollen just rushed in and swept her away, and the daughter held on for almost 2 days to her dead mom's body.
Yeah.
And so stories like that just absolutely, you think is this Haiti? Where is this? This is America. And that's why they try to, I know accidents happen, and law enforcement and EMT, they can't be everywhere, and they've been trying, but that's just a horrible story. She's suffering from hypothermia, but she's expected to be okay, and everybody at the hospital just fell in love with her.
Robert and I missed Robert and Elbrook. Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's, this
But again, the death toll's at 37. The waters are slowly just starting to recede, so.
Here's this story, too. This is a bit of a controversial story. Pit bull, 3-year-old pit bull, and his owner, Charles Rogers. Charles Rogers and I believe his wife were rescued. They were able to take one of their dogs, but not Blue.
Blue?
You're my boy, Blue!
Yeah, that Blue. Not that Blue, but
Blue, the dog named Blue?
Blue, the pit bull, 3-year-old pit bull. They had to leave without him. And then there were images. He found his way on top of the car in their driveway just above the water. And then rescuers went back to try and get him a couple of times and lure, he's afraid to lure him into the boat. And ultimately, Blue was rescued. But now the issue is...
why'd they leave the pit bull? Well, let me guess. They took the schnoodle? What was his other dog?
I don't remember the breed. But the issue is, yes, why did they leave, number one? Number two, who should get the dog? The rescuers, or should the dog be returned to their owner? This has become a big social media firestorm, as you could imagine. Listen to Charles Rogers, who responded to all the criticism that that's been directed his way on social media to this whole matter.
I just jumped into survival mode.
Charles Rogers says rescuers gave his family only a few short minutes to evacuate his flooded neighborhood in spring. He says he grabbed one of his small dogs, but agonized over leaving his 3-year-old pit bull named Blue.
My wife and them was just thinking the rescuers were going to go back and get him.
The dog somehow found a way over an 8-foot backyard fence and on top of a car to keep from drowning.
It was really heartbroken, to see him on top of the car like that,
Rogers saw a video of rescuers unsuccessfully trying to lure the scared dog onto a boat. He insists rescuers promised for more than a day to get the dog to safety.
They said they was going to bring the dog. We waited the whole night, They never brought him.
Rogers wants to thank the 2 volunteers on one of the last boats out for not giving up and saving his dog that he wants returned.
And all the backlash from social media, they abandoned their dog and, this and that. It's just not a true situation, We left on, on survival, on survival mode, and the mindset of the rescuers supposed to have been going back to rescue him, which they tried to, but they end up leaving him too.
Rogers told us that rescuers promised to return the dog, but they told us yesterday they plan to keep him. So we'll keep you updated on this story that millions of people are following.
So who should get Blue? 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro. Answer line 64636-DA, turnkey.pro text.
I mean, the owners should have Blue. Please. They raised Blue. They love Blue. They loved Blue first. You're my boy, Blue. I mean, you can't just watch somebody take Blue.
What would you have done with it in their situation? I mean, here's the problem.
It's like Sophie's Choice.
Yes, but what would you have done in this situation? Because you don't know, right? I mean, you don't know exactly the dynamics where Blue was. Could they have gotten to him? Did they know where he was before they left to the rescue? So I don't want to pass judgment on Charles Rogers and his wife because I just don't know all the details. I assume they wouldn't have left Blue behind if they could have easily gotten to him because I'm sure there's room in the boat for one more dog.
Well, you don't know.
I mean,
the boats that I've seen are packed with animals, people. I mean, it might have been at the tipping point, at the Guam point.
It
might have tipped over.
There's room for 2 dogs, just like 2 of every in Noah's Ark. I mean, right? There's room for Blue. So, what about that? I mean, would you leave Bunky behind?
Oh God, no. No. I would put Bunky on my shoulders. I'd shove Bunky in my shirt. I would never, ever leave Bunky behind.
So
And you wouldn't leave Hayek behind.
I would not leave Hayek behind.
Hayek would be pushing the boat, knowing Hayek.
Well, he's a leader. He does have leadership skills.
He does.
Yeah, but
Hayek would kick me out of the boat. Yeah, I don't think so.
But it does raise an interesting question, though, doesn't it?
Well, now you can't making me think that maybe they abuse their animal.
Well, I'm not saying that at all. There's no evidence of that. There's no evidence of that. John in Hobart, Indiana, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, good morning. I'm from the Houston area, actually, Spring.
Oh.
I live in Hobart, Indiana now, but I actually have a pit bull named Blue, and I never would have left without the dog.
All right, thanks for the.
I'm not saying this guy did anything wrong. I can't speak for this.
Right,
man,
right.
I wouldn't have left without my dog. I guarantee you that.
Well, they should. Do you think
Thanks
they should
for the
get their
call,
dog
John.
back?
Oh, sorry. I mean,
okay.
But
what do you think?
The interesting thing about that neighborhood, it looks like a suburban neighborhood. It's just like a row of homes, right? So it didn't seem like it's confined. It was just the water level was rising. So I'm not so, I mean, it's still like it's 7-8 feet of water. We can swim. Blue obviously did. Blue. Robert in Oak Brook here on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Yeah, on CNN they showed looters going in because they said they had to eat, yet they were carrying out a flat screen TV. I didn't know you could eat a flat screen TV.
If you're that hungry, yeah, you can. Thanks for the call, Robert.
You've made the switch, and it feels so good. You've switched to Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Kind of with John. He's also from Spring.
Yeah.
You
can't leave.
Leave no dog behind. That's what I say.
At least put a life jacket. I mean, Bunky's got a life jacket. She does. I'll bring it in tomorrow.
No, I believe you.
She has a life jacket because bulldogs, they can't swim without it because they'll sink. So I would never leave her behind. But I could throw her a life jacket and have her towed, like water ski behind the boat.
There you go.
Forget about squirrels on water skis. Today, you're not going to see much water. We'll have just that morning shower in spots. Otherwise, some clouds breaking for some sun, breezy, cool high of 73 degrees. It is 69 degrees right now at O'Hare. Then tonight, clear, a low of 56. And tomorrow, mostly sunny, pleasant, a high of 70. Let's go into our Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. Here is Jim Telemonte.
Good morning, Amy. Good morning, Dan. Indiana Toll Road remains closed eastbound in Porter County between State Road 149 and State Road 49. There was a truck fire. There was a diesel fuel. This is all being cleaned up, but it's taking a while. And the traffic on the eastbound side is diverted off the Willow Creek Road exit 23 near Portage. South side of Chicago, fire near Washington Park, 5800 block of South Prairie. Expressways and tollways, things look fairly routine. Most of the overnight work is gone. Inbound Ryan, slow starting at Cermak, 18 minutes, 95 to downtown. I-57, Bishop Ford, both 19 minutes from I-80 to the merge. I'm Jim Talamonte in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center.
When Hurricane Harvey struck Texas and the Gulf Coast over the weekend, the world turned upside down for children and families in its path. When disaster strikes, children suffer in unimaginable ways, and Save the Children is there to meet their unique needs. Even now, Save the Children is in Texas and along the Gulf Coast, making sure hurt and frightened children impacted by Hurricane Harvey get the help they need. To care for and protect children has been the mission of Save the Children for nearly 100 years, so when tragedies like Hurricane Harvey strike, they're prepared and they're on the ground for children and their families around the world and right here at home. Your $50 right now to Save the Children will deliver essential supplies for families forced to evacuate, including hygiene kits, blankets, portable cribs, and strollers. Children are counting on us. Call 888-248-0312. That's 888-248-0312. Or give online right now at savethechildren.org/radio.
Where did I put that wrench? I know I have the right size screwdriver in here somewhere. This garage is a mess. Trouble finding your tools? Time to get organized with Store Lock, the best tool cabinet you'll ever buy. And it's 100% made in the USA, close by in Kankakee, with a 55-year unconditional guarantee. Store Lock is a modular, durable storage system with dividers, liners, and layouts, all made to order exactly how you want it. Each drawer holds up to 400 pounds and is powder-coated in-house with any color you want. And it's fully assembled when it ships. You'll get organized fast. Store Lock can handle any size room or facility. They can do systems for airline hangars to fire departments to modular workstations for your shop. Anywhere and everywhere you need quality storage that will last a lifetime at a factory direct price. It's time to get your home, garage, or business organized. Call Mike the owner personally at 1-800-786-7562. That's 1-800-STORLOC. Or go to storelock.com. That's storelock.com.
The war on depression is over.
You win.
Depression, with all the drugs and side effects, the endless counseling, the frustration with life and relationships.
The war is over. You win.
In a few short weeks, your life will change.
It's TMS therapy.
Over 1 million people have been treated, and the results are nothing short of outstanding. It's FDA cleared. It's covered by most insurance, including Blue Cross Blue Shield and Medicare.
Most drugs and other treatments just mask the depression.
TMS treats the cause, so you can win the war with your depression. remission or cure.
Depression gone.
Get a free consultation at one of the HPR centers in Chicagoland and Wisconsin. Ask questions.
For you or someone you love, safe, revolutionary, effective treatment for depression.
Let depression recovery begin. HPR centers.
800-604-0208. 800-604-0208.
Go to endmydepression.com.
Message and data rates may apply.
Attention, it is illegal to text and drive. So if you're experiencing hair loss and you want a permanent solution, please pull over now, because an incredible offer that could give you your hair back is just one text away. Bosley is America's #1 hair restoration expert, always pioneering the latest technology. And now we're giving everyone who texts GROW to 543-543. An absolutely free information kit that reveals just how easy and affordable this permanent solution really is. Don't wait. When you text GROW to 543-543, we'll also give you a gift card for $250 off. Millions of men and women have come to Bosley for a permanent solution to hair loss. So pull over now and see for yourself how great your hair could look with an absolutely free information kit. Text GROW to 543-543. Plus, get a free gift card. This amazing offer is just one text away. GROW to 543-543.
AM 560. The Answer.
Dan and Amy, gotta take notice of this. Rest in peace, Raleigh Massimino.
Oh, yeah.
Raleigh
Former Villanova
Massimino.
coach.
Great. Yeah, Villanova basketball coach. The 1985 Villanova Wildcats, the biggest upset in NCAA championship history. Villanova beating Patrick Ewing and the Georgetown Hoyas. Massimino, at that time.
Massimino!
Exactly. That's why I mentioned his passing.
Well, at least he got to go to see the championship in 2016.
And a little remembrance of Raleigh after his life after they won that championship, that improbable championship with Gary McLean all coked up, apparently.
As a person, it made my private life very, very public, but I enjoy people. I'm a people's kind of guy, and now I travel all over the country and meet so many wonderful, wonderful people, like Perry Como, Tom Lasorda, all the great Italians in the country.
Hey, got it, bada bing, bada boom.
So we'll miss Raleigh Massimino.
it.
Great, great basketball coach. That Villanova team, despite the Gary McLean story that
Too
came
soon,
after the
Dan.
championship. Well, it's
I mean-
30 years ago, but okay.
I
He was a great basketball coach and a colorful guy, and so rest in peace, Raleigh Massimino.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Making the use of pronouns illegal, as in criminal, as in go to jail in California at 5:38.
And later, President Trump shows some emotions. But first, into the newsroom we go. Here is Mike Scott.
That old Big East was full of Italians. Carne Seca up at St. John's.
Absolutely.
All those guys. 68 degrees. And who else? Plenty of them out there, too. 68 cloudy. Winds from the north at 9. Beaumont, Texas has lost its entire water supply because of hurricane and now tropical storm Harvey. The city's lost service from its main pump station, causing by rising waters of nearby rivers. 2 explosions have hit a chemical plant near Houston that's essentially been crippled by Harvey. The blast happened early this morning at the Arkema plant in Crosby. Matt Dempsey is a reporter with the Houston Chronicle newspaper.
At least 2 experts that I talked to said that they should have had, and it would have been standard operating procedure for a facility like this to have some sort of compound to quelch the organic peroxides, essentially make it so that the explosion risk, fire risk was not there.
People living within a mile and a half of that plant have been told to evacuate. Vice President Mike Pence traveling to Texas later today for a close look at Hurricane Harvey's devastation. Harvey's now a tropical depression. Federal judge in San Antonio temporarily blocking Texas from implementing their tough new sanctuary cities law set to go into effect on Friday. The U.S. coalition is trying to keep ISIS fighters from evacuating the border region between Syria and Lebanon. Around 600 fighters and their families are trying to leave and make it to eastern Syria, part of a temporary truce between the Syrian army and Hezbollah. President Trump touting sweeping tax reform.
We're here today to launch our plans to bring back Main Street by reducing the crushing tax burden on our companies and on our workers.
The president in Missouri yesterday calling the tax code as it's currently constructed self-destructive. A sheriff's deputy is dead. 2 California Highway Patrol officers wounded when a stolen car investigation led to a motel shootout on Wednesday evening. The 2 wounded CHP officers are expected to survive. People here in the Chicago area being warned about swimming in Lake Michigan. The National Weather Service issuing a beach hazard statements until tomorrow afternoon. Meantime, a swimmer remains lost after jumping into the lake on Chicago's north side early this morning. After almost a year of bickering over school funding, Governor Bruce Rauner's not even waiting more than 2 days to sign the state's new school funding law agreement into law. That will happen about 2:30 this afternoon. And the NTSB has a new report out blaming loss of control by the pilot and poor visibility for an April 2015 crash of a private plane that killed 7 near Bloomington. The report issued says the pilot failed to control the airplane and a critical angle of attack was exceeded. In addition to the pilot, victims of that crash included Illinois State University associate basketball coach Torrey Ward and chief sports administrator Aaron Leach. Cubs finish off a 3-game sweep of the Pirates with a 17-3 drubbing at Wrigley Field. Twins trounce the White Sox 11-1. Bulls take on the Browns later this evening. The news is a service of Uber. This time of year's tough balancing free time with wanting to earn extra money. Get your side hustle on and drive with Uber to earn extra money on your time when it works for you. Sign up today at uber.com/drive now. Certain restrictions apply. See site for details. 5:34, we'll have a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Mike Gallagher says it's not time to play politics.
I run away from the politicizing of natural disasters. I hate political gamesmanship that people engage in. This is not a time for that. Right now, the people of Texas need our help, need our prayers, and we don't need to point any fingers of blame.
The Mike Gallagher Show, weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
Visit Discount Tire this Friday and Saturday for up to $320 in Visa prepaid cards when you buy select packages with Discount Tire credit. Discount Tire, America's neighborhood tire store.
You love your trees. They're a primary source of beauty that greatly increases your property value. But damaged limbs and trunks due to weather, insects, and age can make trees a serious liability to your property and neighbors. Access Tree Service has the proven experience to evaluate your tree's health and decide if pruning or removal is the best option. They excel in all aspects of tree removal, tree trimming, stump removal, hedge care, plus stone and mulch to beautify your property. With over 40 years of combined experience and a staff of licensed, bonded, and insured arborists, they provide proof of insurance prior to starting your job and focus on the safety of your valuable property as priority number 1. And thorough cleanup is guaranteed. Call Access Tree Service today for your free in-person on-site estimate, 708-279-7602, or visit accesstreeservice.com. Access Tree Service, Southern Chicagoland's trustworthy tree service, 708-279-7602, or accesstreeservice.com.
5:36 and a check of the roads in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. Here's Jim.
Thanks, Mike. The eastbound Indiana Toll Road remains closed in Porter County east of Portage after a truck fire and diesel spill. Traffic is diverted off the roadway on the eastbound side of the Willow Creek Road, exit 23 near Portage. South side, there's a fire in the 58th block of South Prairie, not far from Washington Park. The Edens and the Kennedy are fine. Inbound Eisenhower, heavy Manheim to 25th and Des Plaines Avenue to Harlem. We just did a crash reported at Laramie. 32 minutes, Thorndale to downtown. Outbound fine at 29. Stevenson, 38 minutes, 3:55 for Lakeshore Drive. Ryan is 19 minutes, 95th to downtown. I-57, 24 minutes, I-80 to the Merge. Bishop 421. Traffic. Service of Cabela's. Make Cabela's your one-stop for all your outdoor gear. Don't miss store-wide savings going on now through Labor Day. Go to Cabela's.com to receive your code for up to an additional 10% savings store-wide. Shop in-store and at Cabela's.com. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte, AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast We'll have a morning shower in the area. Otherwise, clouds will break midday, breezy in the afternoon. High of 73. Currently, we have 68 at O'Hare. Next news coming up at 6. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Secure Retirement Radio with host Raj Shah. Sunday mornings at 7 on AM 560, The Answer.
You want more than just the headlines? Find out what's going on and what it means with me, Dennis Prager, this morning at 11, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. So we've talked about this story before. This was an idea that comes to our fair country from our friends in the Great White North. This is where Jordan Peterson, the great psychology professor, University of Toronto, became somewhat internationally known, fighting an effort to criminalize pronoun use in Canada. In other words, if you call a trans person by a pronoun other than they would like to be called by, you could be criminally prosecuted and sent to prison. We laugh, right? It's comical. Would never come to this country with our First Amendment protections, except it has come to our country because a legislator in California has introduced the very same legislation. I mean, not the very same legislation, but
something similar.
Well, the same ultimate consequence for misuse of pronouns. Abuse is what it's being called, prison time. And a Dem strategist who is openly gay and an advocate for the legislation named Robin Byro was on with Tucker Carlson the other night. They discussed this. Listen to this exchange.
Why in the world would you, as an American who once wore the uniform, support a bill that would criminalize speech?
Because elder abuse is inherently wrong, and I will read the bill. It says,
no, slow down. Speech is not abuse.
No, I'm talking about abuse. This is, understand this, misusing someone's pronoun is abuse. We see all the time people do this as a form of abuse. I follow the alt-right blogs where they call Michelle Obama a man. That is abusive.
Should they go to jail for that?
Should not be accepted.
Should they go to jail for that?
But if it's done in a medical thing, what constituted, hold on, what constituted, Tucker, is prolonged, continuous, intentional abuse by a healthcare provider. That is abuse. That should be criminal.
So he's arguing that this is specific with respect to healthcare facilities, at least in this aspect of the legislation. And if a health care provider for an elderly person, a trans elderly person, for the 1/1,000,000% of trans elderly people in nursing homes, if I as a healthcare provider continue to refer to Caitlyn Jenner in her dotage at a nursing home as he, then I could be subject to imprisonment. That's the law.
That's ridiculous.
Bureau is suggesting that is true because that is prolonged abuse. Now, you call people whatever they want to be called out of respect, politeness, but in terms of taking a public position, that's a different thing. But whether your public position agrees with your private manners or not, the idea that should be criminalized, this is a Dem strategist taking that position that this makes sense. The elderly are a marginalized community. Here we go. And so doing things that are not politically correct, meaning lying, because they want to propagate this lie, is prolonged abuse, and you can be imprisoned. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line.
But even if it's an honest mistake?
No.
I mean, I always get the pronouns wrong with my animals because I have a boy and a girl. It's like he, she, I mean, and you do that sometimes with kids.
Or
it's a mistake.
Or people who are changing their sexual identity, all the time. But what the Dem strategist is arguing, let's just take his premise for the sake of argument.
Okay.
Let's say it is this. Let's say it is prolonged, purposeful misidentifying a trans person as compared to how they want to be identified. should that be criminal? Prison. For example, there is this intermediate step. You're an employee of an organization. You're serving a resident of a nursing home, for the sake of this example. If Caitlyn Jenner's there and I'm his healthcare provider, and I insist on referring to him as he and talking about his stuff, then
then you could go to jail. I mean, there's a possibility of prosecution.
Right, but my point is to say there's an intermediate step, isn't there, where my employer could say, well, that's not how Caitlyn Jenner wants to be referenced, and so if you don't stop referencing it that way, then you're not going to be an employee. Or also, Caitlyn Jenner say, well, I don't feel like I'm being treated very well here, so I'm going to go to a different nursing home. We go from a disagreement to prison. Do not pass go. Go directly to prison.
And didn't we have a gentleman on yesterday about over-incarceration in this country?
Is that a problem? 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. Is it a problem to criminalize speech? It's this whole idea that you think this can be limited. All of this redefinition can be limited. The left just want, they do everything under the guise of fairness and equality. So, it doesn't affect me, so it's a shoulder shrug. And it'll stop here. It will never stop. You redefine the language to redefine the world. That is the point. And so the rules that govern society. So just like what we're talking about on college campuses or with erasing history. Erasing history so you can erase the founding principles of this country and start anew. We start with statues and we move to books and movies. Gone with the Wind, yanked out of a Memphis theater. Pronouns. Oh, yeah, just, whatever people want. Okay. Now you're going to say, well, as long as I use the right pronoun, then I don't care if somebody else goes to jail because, I don't have to worry because I don't speak like that, so my First Amendment rights will never be infringed. There is an interconnectedness to this. This is an ideology of the left, these cultural Marxists, that has no limitation except the limitation imposed by a free people. And people better start getting hip to this reality. Language crimes, thought crimes, government censorship, these are not just kind of references to Orwell or Huxley for dramatic effect. This is a strategist talking about legislation actually introduced in California. Dave in Racine, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Well, I was just wondering if maybe other pronouns like racist or Nazi, if those should also be criminalized when they're improperly used.
Yeah, okay, thanks for the call, Dave. I don't know if we want a, arms race with respect to criminalizing language, but I get your point. Jim on the South Side.
Good morning, how you doing? They've already done this in federal legislation with hate crimes. They've done this in cities. Chicago legislation with hate crimes. Just using words or racial slurs, you can go to jail for. So it's the same thing that they're doing in California. So I don't see why you're upset about it.
Well, it's not the same thing because the hate crime legislation is the use of a racial epithet in the commission of a crime imposes potentially stiffer penalties. But there has to be an underlying crime. The use of a racial epithet in and of itself is not a crime subject to hate crime.
An underlying crime could be something as simple as an assault.
As an assault, right? That's an underlying crime. Yes, right. That's an underlying crime. That's an actual infringement on somebody else's rights. That's a different thing. And I'm not defending hate crime legislation. I'm just distinguishing it between pronouns.
I'm a Chicago police officer, and I know of one specific incident where a woman was getting onto the L. She bumped into another woman, not intentionally. There's not a battery. But she called her racial name. The next day, the woman came out. She used city law and had a woman arrested. There was no intent on that woman's part to bump into her and commit a battery. They were just running late to the L.
Yeah.
So this is how these laws can be switched around. So you're saying that it has to be underlying crime. Once they get it in, what they've done with hate crimes, where just the even word of a racial slur is enough.
Yeah,
They've got to put the door.
so they bootstrap the underlying crime is what you're saying. Okay, that's a fair point.
Exactly.
All right, thanks for the call, Jim. I'm just distinguishing it from this is just using pronouns. No underlying crime.
No touching.
And,
no.
and you can't even boot. And well, I guess to some extent. Well, actually, to some extent, now I think about it. I mean, part of this is bootstrapping the predicate for the crime, which is say prolonged. Well, how many times is prolonged? Tucker Carlson says, how many times do I have to use the wrong pronoun before the police arrest me? What's prolonged? That's a good question. So yeah, okay, I see a little bit more similarity than I did at first blush. Thanks for the call, Jim. Vince in Waukegan.
Hey, guys. Yeah, sorry, but their feelings don't trump the Constitution, and that's something I'll fight for. Some of these people don't even belong in this country because they don't respect the Constitution at all.
Thanks for the call, Vince. Also, perhaps this is also forthcoming from California. If you refer to Columbus Day as Columbus Day, because Columbus Day doesn't exist in L.A. anymore, Columbus Day was changed to Indigenous Peoples Day by official proclamation of the L.A. City Council, which voted 14-1 to change the day from Columbus Day to Indigenous People Day.
They're trying to do that here, too.
Well, imagine that. Yeah.
Because my Italian friends have let me know that they're not happy with that suggestion.
Yeah. Cambridge, Massachusetts has done it previously, too. Yeah. New York resident found a beheaded Christopher Columbus statue Wednesday. It's tolerant. It's smart. It's a real...
It's a real good start to your long Labor Day weekend. It is.
It's really biting commentary.
Yeah,
it's thoughtful. That's what I like about it.
You're listening to Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Morning shower in spots. Otherwise, we're going to have clouds, some sun. It'll be breezy, cooler than we're used to, a high of 73 degrees. And then clear tonight in the 50s we go, so no need for air conditioning. And then tomorrow, Friday, mostly sunny, pleasant, a high of 70 degrees. Let's get into our Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. Here is Jim Telemonte.
Thanks, Amy and Dan. Eastbound Indiana Toll Road east of Portage. An earlier truck fire and diesel spill has the roadway closed. Traffic is forced off the eastbound toll road at the Willow Creek Road, exit 23 near Portage. Westbound, it's all open. Edens to Kennedy are fine. Inbound Eisenhower delays start at Wolf Road. It is 36 minutes, Thorndale to downtown. Stevenson, 39 minutes, 3:55 to the drive. Ryan, 22 minutes from 95th to the loop. The Illinois tollways are fine. Jim Talamonte in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center.
Upstream-ideas.com, premium content that complements what we do each morning on this show. It's our digital platform with long-form interviews in our Against the Current series. This week, featuring the WVON Morning Drive team, our colleagues Charles Thomas and Mays Jackson. And I have a discussion about race and race relations in Chicago and Illinois in these times. Podcast for Illinois Rising program, which covers state policy and politics, airs on these airwaves Sundays at 3 p.m., as well as my 60 Seconds to Sanity commentaries, Pat Hughes from Illinois Opportunity Project's 2-minute warnings, our Man on the Street, Follow the Logic segments, and also our new series, Heart of the Matter, which features professional women speaking colleague to colleague about the important issues of the day and the policy decisions that are made on them, how they impact households and household budgets. You can check it all out if you visit upstream-ideas.com.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies.
I'm 75 years old, and I don't eat enough vegetables or fruit. And this is a great thing to do. And it seems that I have more energy. It seems that I take that, and I take a lot of blood pressure pills and what do you call it, cholesterol. But my doctor tells me, he said, no, you might cut the dosage down on your pills because what are you taking? I said, Balance of Nature. He said he didn't know what it was. So I told him, I said it's fruits and vegetables condensed into little pill form. He goes, well, whatever it is, it's doing you a lot of good.
Good health is only a phone call away. What are you waiting for? Don't miss your opportunity to get a free month supply of Balance of Nature. Call 1-800-2468-751. That's 1-800-2468-751. or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code CHICAGO.
It's time for a little R&R, courtesy of ChicagoRadioDeals.com. 2 words, Door County. Take a few days off and escape to Wisconsin. Head up to the White Lace Inn in gorgeous Sturgeon Bay. The White Lace Inn features 18 inviting guest rooms and suites and 4 elegant turn-of-the-century neighboring homes. You can enjoy the gardens, gazebos, and the glory that is Door County. This is a $300 gift certificate for only $150 and can be applied to overnight stays or items in their store. For another fabulous getaway, purchase an overnight stay package for the Schuster Mansion Bed and Breakfast in Milwaukee. You can spend the night in Molly's room. Their 2-room luxury suite's got a private bath. It includes breakfast in the Victorian dining room and fresh chocolate chip cookies. Yours for only $85 a couple. So check out all the deals only from your good friends at ChicagoRadioDeals.com.
There's a place where you can get custom metal products. If you manage a commercial kitchen, hotel, condo building, or food-grade manufacturing plant, then no matter the type of metal or size of the project, the skillfully trained fabrication team at Vans Industrial has you covered.
Hi, I'm Dave Van Camp, president of Vans Industrial. Custom metal fabrication is the backbone of my company. We fabricate stainless steel countertops, wall coverings, hoods, landscape planter boxes, industrial fan housings, and more. Vans Industrial uses all types of alloys like carbon steel, aluminum, brass, and polished stainless steel. And we have a laser cutting machine. Our laser can customize almost any project. Our team can design, fabricate, and install your project today.
Call 219-931-4881 today for a free inspection of your facility. Interested in what else they do? Visit vansindustrial.com. That's VANS industrial.com. Vans Industrial. Customizing for you, the customer.
Continental Audi of Naperville wants to put you in a new Audi. During the Summer of Audi sales event, now is a great time to buy or lease. And with Continental Audi of Naperville, you get a different kind of buying experience. Straight talk and no hassle. Plus, you get a huge selection of Audis to choose from. For a limited time, lease an Audi A4 Premium for $429 a month and 0 first month's payment. The Audi A4 is one of the best in its class. Swift, silent, and sporty. Plus, Continental has a test track to get in and really drive. Drive an Audi and feel the difference. Drive an Audi from Continental and experience the difference in an exceptional dealer. Experience the Continental Audi difference, where smiles are standard equipment. ContinentalAudi.com or Continental Audi in Naperville on Aurora Avenue at Ogden Avenue. Continental Audi of Naperville wants to put you in the driver's seat of a new Audi. 36-month lease, $31.15 due outstanding plus tax, title, license, and acquisition fee. Extra must qualify through Audi Financial Services. See dealer for details.
When you have sleep apnea, traveling can be a real drag because you have to drag your big, bulky home CPAP device with you everywhere you go. But not anymore. Now you can travel easily and sleep comfortably anywhere thanks to Transcend, the world's very first mini CPAP. And right now, you can try Transcend absolutely risk-free for 10 restful nights. So call now, 1-800-600-3585. Our smallest and most advanced portable design ever, Transcend is as small as a soda can and weighs less than a pound. You can even add a battery that's as tiny as a deck of cards. Transcend is so incredibly small and light, you can easily fit it in your briefcase or purse to use anywhere you go. It's FAA compliant too, so you can even sleep comfortably while flying. Now you can enjoy the freedom to sleep comfortably anywhere. But don't delay. To receive your 10-night in-home trial, call minicpap.com now. 1-800-600-3585. Again, that's 1-800-600-3585.
I want my government to just leave me the hell alone.
The Joe Walsh Show.
I don't have a political party speaking for me. The Republican Party, the Democrat Party, for somebody like me who just wants my government to leave me alone, the Republicans and Democrats don't do squat for me. We need something else.
The Joe Walsh Show. Weeknights starting at 5. Right after Sean Hannity at 2 on AM 560. The Answer.
I just want to be left alone.
5:57. Let's get an update on the ride this morning in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. Here is Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. The eastbound Indiana Toll Road is closed in Porter County after a truck fire and diesel spill. Traffic eastbound is forced off the Willow Creek Road exit near Portage. Edens is fine. The Kennedy has scattered delays now coming out of River Road Toll. 23 minutes, so here to downtown. Outbound 20 Mount Eisenhower, 38 minutes. Thorndale to the post office, outbound 29. Stevenson, 42 minutes, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive. Ryan, 22 minutes, 95th to downtown. I-57, Bishop Fort, both 24 minutes from I-80 to the merge. And traffic is a service of Cabela's. Make Cabela's your one stop for all your outdoor gear. Don't miss store-wide savings going on now through Labor Day. Go to Cabela's.com to receive your code for up to an additional 10% savings store-wide. Shop in-store and at Cabela's.com. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte, AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues after a full update from Fox News and your official Chicagoland weather forecast with our meteorologist, Michael Stack.
An early shower, otherwise clouds giving way to some sunshine, breezy and not as warm out today, high 72. Mostly clear skies for tonight, low 56. Friday, mainly sunny, high 71. Plenty of sunshine Saturday, high 76. I'm Michael Stack on AM 560, The Answer.
Currently 68 at O'Hare. The News, a service of your local Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, and Ram dealer. It's the Labor Day sales event at your local Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, and Ram dealer. Get incredible deals on the award-winning lineup, but don't wait. These deals will not last long. Hurry in and see your local Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, and Ram dealer today. 5:59. Here are the stories we are following on AM 560, The Answer. There is a beach hazard warning up until tomorrow afternoon. A warning about swimming in Lake Michigan. Life-threatening waves and currents are expected. A swimmer remains lost after jumping into Lake Michigan on Chicago's north side in the 5500 block of North Lakeshore Drive. A CPS special education teacher accused of dealing ammunition and gun accessories on the south side. Brent Turpin has been suspended from teaching at Kershaw Elementary School. A former Wheaton College professor on probation for having child pornography is heading to prison. Donald Ratcliffe was sentenced yesterday to 3 years behind bars for violating probation. Cubs finish off a 3-game sweep of the Pirates with a 17-3 drubbing. Twins trounce the White Sox. More Dan and Amy coming up after Fox News, WIND Chicago News Time. 6.
This is a Fox News alert. A fire in all the flooding in Texas. I'm Dave Anthony. It happened in Crosby. Rocked by 2 explosions at 2 a.m. at a flooded chemical plant. Fox's Evan Brown has more live from Houston, about 20 miles away.
Yeah, Dave, the Arkema chemical plant says volatile chemicals stored there are what caused the explosion, resulting in an airborne chemical leak. 10 deputies are being treated for inhaling it. They've also evacuated the immediate area.
Please do not return to the area within the evacuation zone until local emergency response authorities announce it is safe to do so.
Eileen Smith is an Arkema spokeswoman. The chemical is believed to be non-toxic, but still an irritant and would make you sick if you breathe it in. The plant's been without power since Hurricane Harvey, and the materials might not be stored properly without power, Dave.
Evan, in some areas around Houston, the flooding's still getting worse as a reservoir spills over, putting neighborhoods in danger in Fort Bend County.
New mandatory evacuation near the Barker Reservoir. The residents given a mandatory evacuation order. Problem is, most of them haven't found out yet, so they're going to wake up and be told they've got to get out.
Fox's Griff Jenkins. People in Tyler County also told to evacuate or they could die as rivers rise. And amid the high water in Beaumont, residents have lost tap water. The water supply has been cut off by flooding. Thousands remain in shelters, and the disaster is now blamed for at least 31 deaths. 10 homes have burned down. 500 more threatened near the northern California town of Oroville by a wildfire. And in Montana, 1,000 homes evacuated by a wildfire there. A Texas law cracking down on so-called sanctuary cities supposed to go into effect tomorrow is on hold.
A federal judge has temporarily blocked most of the law from going into effect because he's concerned it may be unconstitutional. It could fine counties that don't honor federal requests to hold immigrants for possible deportation, and it would remove police chiefs and sheriffs who don't cooperate with detainer requests.
That's Jack Callahan, Fox News, fair and balanced.
The biggest conservative event in Chicago is back. It's Freedom Summit 2017, and it's coming to the Westin Chicago Northwest in Itasca on Saturday, November 11th, and it's bigger than ever. This year, see best-selling author and filmmaker Dinesh D'Souza, along with Lieutenant Colonel Oliver North, Larry Elder, Joe Walsh, Dan Proft, Amy Jacobson, and many more. Tickets are on sale now at freedomsummitchicago.com. That's freedomsummitchicago.com. Sponsored in part by Automated Systems Incorporated.
Hi, I'm Jay Farner, CEO of Quicken Loans. Every day people ask me, Jay, did I miss out? Have the rates gone up? The answer is no. Rates are still low, and it's a perfect time to refinance your home, especially if your mortgage rate is higher than 4.25%. If you'd like to lower your interest rate and save thousands of dollars in interest without starting over on a new 30-year loan, a Quicken Loans Yorgage is what you're looking for. With our exclusive Yorgage, you can choose a term that works best for you, anywhere from 8 to 30 years. The rate today on an 8-year Yorgage is 3.25%, APR 3.75%. For 7 years in a row now, J.D. Power has ranked Quicken Loans highest in the nation for customer satisfaction for primary mortgage origination. And for the 4th year in a row, they've also ranked us highest in the nation for mortgage servicing. Call us today at 800-QUICKEN or go to quickenloans.com. That's 800-QUICKEN.
For J.D. Power award information, visit jdpower.com. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLSConsumerAccess.org number 3030.
All right, I have to admit it was an eyesore. The chipping and paint peeling on our front and back porch, it looked awful. But thanks to CertaPro painters, the porch looks brand new. The painters who showed up were professional, respectful. They were done in just a few hours. And when they left, the house looked brand new. They really are the best in the business. And it's not too late to book your exterior painting project. There are several spots open on CertaPro's summer schedule. Here's an idea. Let CertaPro painters transform your home while you're on vacation and return to a freshly painted house. They're celebrating their 25th anniversary this year, and so we invite you to experience the CertaPro difference. For a free estimate, call 1-800-GO-CERTA, C-E-R-T-A, or visit CertaPro.com, that's Certa with the C. Get that painting project off your to-do list. Each CertaPro painter's business is independently owned and operated. CertaPro painters, we do painting, you do life.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Fly By Night with your host, comedian, and entertainer extraordinaire, Ken Severa. Saturdays at midnight on AM 560, The Answer.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. So Trump was in Springfield, Missouri yesterday talking tax reform. We're picking up tax reform, seeing if we can advance that flag better than Obamacare repeal and replace. And Trump outlined the 4 principles for any tax reform package that he will support.
Here are my 4 principles for tax reform. First, we need a tax code that is simple, fair, and easy to understand. That means getting rid of the loopholes and complexity that primarily benefit the wealthiest Americans and special interests. Second, we need a competitive tax code that creates more jobs and higher wages for Americans. It's time to give American workers the pay raise that they've been looking for many, many years. The third principle for tax reform is a crucial one: tax relief for middle-class families. In a way, and I've been saying this for a long time, they've been sort of the forgotten people. But they're not forgotten any longer, I can tell you that. Fourth and finally, we want to bring back trillions of dollars in wealth that's parked overseas. Because of our high tax rate and horrible, outdated, bureaucratic rules, large companies that do business overseas will often park their profits offshore to avoid paying a high United States tax if the money is brought back home. We can return trillions and trillions of dollars to our economy and spur billions of dollars in new investments in our struggling communities and throughout our nation. It's time to invest in our country, to rebuild our communities, and to hire our great American workers.
So simplification, lowering taxes, both at the corporate level and I think the personal level when he talks about competitive tax code that creates more jobs and higher wages for America. The relief for middle-income families, which is a bit redundant, but you want to focus on middle-income families, and then repatriation of overseas corporate profits, so which would be a real infusion into the economy. And just to give you a sense of the repatriation piece of it, there are projections that Apple alone, just Apple, has as much as $250 billion.
Not a billion, but $1 trillion?
Well, it's almost $1 trillion company. $250 billion overseas because money goes where it's treated the best, and so they pay a lower tax rate in other countries on said profits. So repatriating $250 billion, Apple alone, if you brought our corporate tax rate even in line with most other Western industrialized countries, even if you can't get it to 15%, if you got it down from 35 to 20, that would be a substantial windfall. And I know people on the left are going to say, oh, it's just feather bedding corporations. This allows for businesses to invest and reinvest, and it's not for the Apples of the world, really. That's a part of it, for sure. But it's for the small to mid-size owner-operator that is the real backbone of job creation in this country.
He wanted to bring back Main Street. That's why he chose Springfield, Missouri. It's near Route 66. And he wants to you're right. And he wants to revitalize downtown areas in small towns and in larger towns. So it's pro-growth, pro-jobs, pro-worker. A little light on specifics, but, so who will see the cuts, but what will the cuts be? And how's it going to be paid for?
Well, this is an interesting story, too. Data released this week from Bureau of Labor Statistics. In 2016, Americans spent more on taxes than food and clothing combined.
I can believe it.
Yeah, I mean, that...
Have you guys seen your property tax bill yet?
Well, I mean, in Illinois, of course, that's true. But this is nationally, of course. That's substantial. I think it puts it in perspective to give you just a sense of, where the money that you earn is being distributed. And should government be the primary consumer of the fruits of your labor? I think that's a fair question to ask. And
I'm personally
this puts
sick
it down
of
to the household level.
I mean, I ordered a 22-ounce Diet Coke yesterday and had to pay 22 cents of that went to Cook County for that beverage tax, because I'm supposed to be cutting down on my sugary drinks, even though it wasn't even a sugary drink. I mean, when's it going to stop? I feel like I'm paying for the sins of fraudulent, irresponsible politicians. And I don't know what the end game is. I mean, really.
Well, Cook County, Illinois, unique case, but
no, but still, that's where my money is going, to Cook
no
County
question.
in Illinois.
Illinoisans pay the highest combined state and local tax burden in the country. So that's the overlay or the underlay on the federal tax burden. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line. Do you like the 4 principles that Trump outlined? And I think that's a good approach. Here are the principles that I want to see reflected in any legislation I would sign. And then the wrangling begins in Congress.
Yeah, and the last time we heard, in April, he released the one-page, 250-word tax plan. So, I mean, there's not a lot of substance here, but hopefully he'll explain it further, and Paul Ryan will be working on it still, and we'll have a better idea of who it's going to benefit.
We'll talk to Grover Norquist at the top of the 8 o'clock hour about some of what should be in there and what could be in there and what the difference between those two is. Ann Coulter responded yesterday with a tweet storm.
Was she hangry?
She tweeted in response to President Trump's speech, the crux of it you just heard. WTF? Why is Trump back to tax cuts? His election was not about tax cuts. He's been talking to Paul Ryan again, ? This isn't a once-in-a-lifetime shot at tax cuts, as Trump said in his speech. Every GOP cuts taxes. This is a once-in-a-lifetime shot to save U.S. wall and deportations. She continued. Bush cut taxes. Did it create millions of jobs? Nope. The rich pocketed their tax cut and sent jobs abroad, hired guest workers. F them. That's not exactly true, but I'll continue her tweet storm and we can revisit that. It's so obvious Trump's only getting polite applause for tax cuts. Want to get the crowd hollering? Trump, ? Talk about the wall. She's not done. It's like Night of the Living Dead watching our beloved Donald Trump go to D.C. and start babbling the same old GOP nonsense on tax cuts. I don't agree with that. And Coulter continuing, tax cuts are a second-term issue. No, they're not. First term, build the wall, and DACA, deport illegals, no refugees, no Muslims, immigration moratorium, save USA. Finally, Ann Coulter, cutting taxes doesn't do a damn thing for wages if you allow businesses to keep bringing in cheap foreign labor. Is Ann Coulter right, or is President Trump and other free market types like myself right? Because I couldn't disagree with Ann Coulter more with respect to the tweet storm that I just
Get so vulgar, dropping F-bombs and WTFs and all that.
Maybe after she dated Bill Maher.
Was it or Jimmy Walker?
Well, she's dating Jimmy Walker. I assume they're still together. I don't know, but I'm not putting that on Dynamite. I'm putting that on Bill Maher, her potty mouth. Ken in Lombard, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Yeah, I wanted to make a point to people who have these concerns whether or not these companies or individuals are paying their fair share or not, and what's right and what's wrong. If you have a law on the books that says you'll collect 35%, and that money that was earned overseas and was taxed overseas in that region or that area or that country, and you don't bring it back, you're getting 35% of zero. If you lower it to 20%, you're getting 20% of $1 billion. This is just not that hard to figure out. So on one hand, you're walking away with zero because of your ideology, or as I like to call it, idiotology. And on the other hand, you can have something versus nothing.
Yeah, I think that boils it down fairly nicely. Thanks for the call, Ken. And I think...
Well, are you hopeful about this?
Well, I mean, I'm hopeful about it. How this proceeds and what the component parts are. The principles that Trump laid out, I don't have any problem with. Remember here, too, I mean, just per the data point I mentioned earlier about Americans spending more money on taxes than food and clothing, the average American tax bill has increased 41% in the last 3 years. Yeah, last 3 years. A government-centric society. It's costly. And, of course, they spend more than they take in anyway, so it becomes even more costly because borrowing is just a backdoor tax increase, which is what we do in Illinois. But in terms of my optimism for something really revolutionary, real long-term structural reform, I'm a bit mixed. I'd like to see some of what Trump said, remembering that only about half the country pays taxes, federal income taxes in the first place.
Yes.
I'd like to see that. But it seems to me there's a long way to go from where we are now to anything that's consistent with those principles, simpler and lower tax rates, personal and corporate, and getting all the benefits, as Ken was describing. It should be possible. We have Republican majorities. This is the Republican Party's calling card. It shouldn't be its only calling card, but it has been of late. I disagree with Ann Coulter. You can do more than one thing at the same time. You can walk and chew gum. You can repeal and replace Obamacare and also cut taxes and level up a Supreme Court nominee and reduce the administrative regulatory state. You can do these things simultaneously. You got a lot of personnel. The attention span of Congress should be able to contemplate more than one thing at a time. But I worry about Trump getting off track with the next kind of manufactured crisis by the media or the next misstatement that becomes a melodrama in the D.C. press corps. This is going to require focus and a sense of urgency, because if it doesn't get done this year, it's probably not going to get done. And then Republicans may be done in November of 2018. Travis in Highland Park, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Yeah, hey, good morning. I think Trump's instincts on this are 100% accurate, and they're good. Corporations, like you said, Dan, I've heard you say this a couple of times, but they're an easy punching bag. But most economists would agree that they don't really pay taxes. It's just
correct.
It's just something that's passed on to either their labor or their consumer or their shareholder, because they're just they're a public entity that's a contractual entity. They don't really represent anybody but the shareholders. It's other people that are paying that tax. Did you ever read Neil Bortz's book, The Fair Tax?
I have not read Bortz's book, but I'm familiar with the idea.
Well, the
national sales tax.
Right. Yeah, this was written 20 years ago, but the thing I was going to talk about was back then the compliance cost alone, just because the code is so complicated, they estimated it at around, I think, just under $1 trillion. Now, 20 years ago.
Yeah.
So, what is it now? How much money is being wasted just to ensure individuals and businesses are paying the right amount? So that's the biggest problem. I think Trump hit on that really well yesterday, talking about simplifying the code and making it easy to understand. So
yes, thanks for the call, Travis. And simplifying the code also means the loopholes and the deductions. Let's make it transparent. Let's make it linear, and let's reduce the rates. Those are the principles, and essentially what Trump reiterated yesterday. They've been principles Republican Party politicians have articulated for a long time. They've had struggled to put them into practice. You know why? Because they get trapped into this increase the deficit and debt game that the Democrats and the big government vanguard class likes to play anytime the prospect of tax relief is leveled up, in addition to the Class envy politics. And it'd be interesting to see also, just on the Class envy politics, if maybe Trump is willing to play that a little bit himself for the benefit of the overall reform package. For example, you recall he has expressed an openness to putting the hammer down on, say, the cajillionaire hedge fund managers, for example. And since, most of them are champagne socialists, that wouldn't break my heart. I don't think it's good public policy. But if he has to hammer them to do a package that's consistent with the principles he outlined here, maybe that's something he's willing to do. Bob in Buffalo Grove, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Thanks for taking my call. Dan, I'm just wondering if you've read the book by Michelle Malkin, Sold Out.
I have not read that book either. Boy, you guys are
Wow,
stumping me today. Neil
you've
Bortz,
got a
Michelle
homework
Malkin.
assignment.
All right.
She was at the Freedom Summit last year. You got to read it.
I remember. Yes. Okay. What's the upshot of the point you're making, though?
It's all about the H-1B, the foreign worker issues, and she documents it left and right about how it's ruining the American workers.
Do you think?
You have to read it.
I'll read it. I get
right.
the argument, but I'll read it. But let me ask you this, though, Bob. Do you agree with Coulter that Trump is taking his eye off the ball, then?
I agree with Coulter. I've followed this issue for 25 years. Did you see 60 Minutes about 3 weeks ago, where American workers were fired and they brought in their foreign worker replacements?
Yeah, I've seen that. I did see that, and
This has been going on for years.
We've reported those stories like that at Disney on the show. That's a fair point.
Disney did it. Abbott did. I mean, it's amazing how many companies are doing it.
Thanks for the call, Bob, and the book recommendation. Gosh, I got a lot of homework today.
Yeah, your plate's full. You better get cracking.
Sharon in Itasca.
Hey, thanks for taking my call. I'll tell you, we beleaguered taxpayers here in Illinois definitely deserve a break. If Governor Rauner's liberal Democrat wife can influence him to feel sorry and bleeding heart about keeping illegals here and basically disarming and handcuffing the wrists of our law enforcement, which we pay for, from down in Cairo, Illinois, all the way up north to Gurnee, we deserve a break. And if Trump can get that for the country, I'll want to stay in the state because at least I'll have a fighting chance to stay in business here. That's my comment.
Thanks for the call, Sharon.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of business
Small
owners.
business owner, Sharon.
Well, yeah, they think that Trump has their back rather than Governor Rauner or other lawmakers.
Well, there's some reason for them to think that. Tom in Deer Park.
In regard to Ann Coulter's tweets and comments, I've never taken her seriously even before. The area of Trumpism, and she's only gotten worse now. But forget about the policy. In one of her tweets yesterday, she stated flat out, no Muslims, and left it there point blank. That's violent racist, and I don't know why anybody would ever take her seriously or even allow her on TV again. That's just my thought.
Thanks, Tom.
This is the morning show more Chicago radio listeners are choosing. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Coming up next, a 92-year-old evacuee you will fall in love with. But first, here's your forecast. Today, we're going to have a morning shower in spots. Otherwise, clouds breaking for some sun. Breezy, a high of 73 degrees. Tonight, clear, a low of 56. And for tomorrow, mostly sunny, pleasant, a high of 70 degrees. Let's get into our alarm detection systems traffic center. Jim Talamonte, you're going to want to stick around and meet this lady.
I sure will. Thanks, Amy. Good morning. Good morning, Dan. On the Indiana Toll Road in Porter County, it's really no change. Unfortunately, the eastbound toll road is closed east of Portage after an overnight truck fire and ongoing cleanup of a diesel spill. All eastbound traffic is forced off at Willow Creek Road near Portage, and northbound Willow Creek is jammed up to US 20. So consider 20. For 94, another alternate to this. The westbound toll road is open. Edens is 19 minutes, Lake Cook to Montrose, halfbound the same. The Kennedy, 30 minutes, O'Hare to downtown. Eisenhower is now 45 minutes, Thorndale to the post office. The Stevenson, 45 minutes, 355 to the drive. Ryan, 24 minutes from 95th to the loop. I-57, 20 minutes, I-80 to the merge, Bishop 425. I'm Jim Talamonte in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center.
When Hurricane Harvey struck Texas and the Gulf Coast over the weekend, the world turned upside down for children and families in its path. When disaster strikes, children suffer in unimaginable ways, and Save the Children is there to meet their unique needs. Even now, Save the Children is in Texas and along the Gulf Coast, making sure hurt and frightened children impacted by Hurricane Harvey get the help they need. To care for and protect children has been the mission of Save the Children for nearly 100 years, so when tragedies like Hurricane Harvey strike, they're prepared and they're on the ground for children and their families around the world and right here at home. Your $50 right now to Save the Children will deliver essential supplies for families forced to evacuate, including hygiene kits, blankets, portable cribs, and strollers. Children are counting on us. Call 888-248-0312. That's 888-248-0312. Or give online right now at savethechildren.org/radio.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies.
I had some ulcer issues on my leg that I had from Vietnam. It would erupt on occasion of periods of stress. When I was taking juices, these ulcers had disappeared, but I was not able to get good quality fruits and vegetables to make good juices. And, these ulcers came back. But since I've been taking the fruit and the veggie capsules, these ulcers again have subsided.
Good health is only a phone call away. What are you waiting for? Don't miss your opportunity to get a free month's supply of Balance of Nature. Call 1-800-2468-751. That's 1-800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com.
Use promo code CHICAGO.
Hello, Dan Proft here. Gentlemen, if you've been thinking about treatment for low testosterone, be sure to do your homework and go to a medical provider that you can trust specializes in testosterone therapy. That's why I went to Low T Center and got my levels checked. It was quick, easy, and now they have a great new location in downtown Chicago on the Mag Mile. If you've noticed a decline in energy, stamina, or motivation, you may have low testosterone. Low T levels make you feel tired and grumpy, can even raise your cholesterol and cause weight gain. At Low T Center, service is covered by most health insurance. You'll find out your results in minutes. So guys, if you've been thinking about treatment for low testosterone, choose my friends at Low T Center, now with a location in downtown Chicago on the Mag Mile at 625 North Michigan Avenue. Call 312-239-3427. Tell them Dan Proft sent you. That's me. The number again, 312-239-3427. 312-239-3427 for Low T Center. Or you can go online and visit them at lowtcenter.com. That's lowtcenter.com.
Hey guys, Ken here from the hit podcast Today's Growth. We all know increasing revenue's tough, but did you know that 100% of main sources of income fail? The odds are 100% that your current main source of income will someday no longer exist. 439 of 1955's original Fortune 500 are no longer around, yet their industries and even their product lines still thrive. What happened to these companies? Simple. They didn't believe that 100% of main sources of income fail. They never added a second revenue model. For years, my friends at Income Store have helped both households and businesses build second, third, and even fourth revenue streams. When it comes to helping people create their next revenue model, both Forbes and Inc. recommend Income Store as a can't miss. Could your household or business use an additional revenue model that doesn't solely depend on you? If so, you need to check out IncomeStore.com.
That's incomestore.com. Go to incomestore.com today. That's incomestore.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
Well, sadly, overnight, the number of fatalities from the Houston hurricane jumped to 37. There was a chemical plant explosion. There's no running water in Beaumont, Texas. 32,000 people are in different shelters. So it's been, just a horrible week for rescue workers. And they've come across different types of people. I remember the reporter at CNN who came across a woman who was telling her to get that microphone out of my face. We're grieving right now. My kids are still wet. They have no shoes.
Yeah, well, she's a little irascible after being in the water for 5 days. I think that's understandable.
Right. So I just wanted to introduce you to 92-year-old. Yes, this woman is 92 years old. Her name is Shirley. She has some knee problems, so she's confined to a wheelchair. And she was rescued yesterday, and it happened on live television.
Ma'am, what's your name, ma'am?
My name is Shirley.
Shirley. Talk about
I didn't realize I was
You're live
on camera. No,
You look beautiful.
No, I would have worn my wig for the occasion. Really?
I look fun behind too.
You guys are so wonderful. Really, just wonderful.
Talk about the generosity of all these folks.
And they're so good looking. My God. Really, and strong. My goodness.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys are wonderful. Really. Thank you so much.
She was great. Okay, these guys were hot. I mean, I know you can't comment on it because you're a man, but some were from the Cajun Navy, and they were rugged, good-looking men, and she just was a little, flustered.
You guys are so wonderful.
The folks back at Channel 13 are already in love with you, man.
Are they really? God, maybe I get a contract out of this.
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
She's looking for a TV contract.
Business opportunity.
She's so sweet, but they came to her door so many times, and she's lived there for more than, 20 years. And she just didn't think that this was going to happen.
I vowed I would not go down. I was going to go down with my ship if I needed to. And I was going to stay with my house and I couldn't imagine that this would be, that this would transpire. Could not imagine such an event transpiring.
She said emergency crews, they were good salespeople. She's like, you guys were very persuasive. That's why I left. And then since she's 92 and has survived many natural disasters and wars, they asked her how this compares to other events.
So Shirley, at 92, you've lived through a lot, right? You've seen that. Sorry.
And don't call me Shirley.
Just finding out that her son told how old she was, and she's not happy about that. But you've lived through a lot of experiences. Talk about putting this in perspective. Put this moment in perspective compared to some of the other stuff you've seen. The Depression, World War II, Vietnam, 9/11, all the different events you've seen in your life.
Great. I didn't expect to be talking to a historian. Really. Really. Put it in perspective. There is no perspective for being jounced around on the back of a truck in a flooded area, hanging on for dear life. What kind of perspective do we need for that? It's a horrible experience, and it's just amazing that you guys are here and are so wonderful and helpful. No, I can't put it in perspective. It just doesn't jive with any.
It just doesn't jive.
Yeah, the good thing is that she wasn't left at the Charles Rogers home.
Oh, yeah.
She may have had a bit of weight on the top of a car for
and
rescue.
When they said goodbye to her and parted ways, she said that she'll be friends with them. They wanted them to call her, check up on her.
What are you
maybe
talking about?
Friday night or something, maybe lonely Friday night. They can come over.
They're going to see her in studio doing the 10 o'clock news down there.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Speaking of which, perfect segue, we're going to talk to our colleague in Houston, the morning host of AM 1070's The Answer, Sam Malone. I assume everyone knows his name down there.
Uh-huh.
I'm sure he's never heard that one.
No, it'll be new. But first, let's go to the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
Well, there have been massive evacuations, of course, along the Gulf Coast, but we're also watching an evacuation taking place in Frankfurt, Germany this morning. 60,000 people are being evacuated after a construction crew uncovered a massive World War II bomb underneath that city. Frankfurt police say the British bomb was found at a construction site. There's currently no danger right now, but the area is being slowly evacuated as a precaution as police prepare to defuse that bomb over the weekend. Floodwaters from Hurricane Harvey are receding in and around Houston this morning. A glimmer of hope there, but more disasters may be brewing outside of Houston after a pair of explosions hit a flooded chemical plant in Crosby. Harris County Sheriff says 10 deputies inhaled a non-toxic irritant while at that Arkema plant in Crosby. That plant has suffered heavy damage. President Trump called the tropical storm a tragic situation, still causing big problems, he says, in Texas and Louisiana.
Torrential rains and terrible flooding continue to pose a grave danger to life and to property. Our first responders have been doing absolutely heroic work.
A salmonella outbreak across several states is now being linked to pet turtles. CDC reporting there have been 37 cases. Of those cases, 15 had handled pet turtles before getting sick. Texas' stiff anti-sanctuary cities law being blocked by a federal judge. It was to go into effect on Friday. People in and around Chicagoland being warned about taking a dip in Lake Michigan, the National Weather Service issuing a beach hazard statement until tomorrow afternoon. Meantime, a swimmer remains lost after jumping into Lake Michigan early this morning on Chicago's north side. Chicago sports found the Cubs winners over the Pirates 17-3. Jose Barrios struck out 11 as the Twins beat the White Sox 11-1. The news service of Cabela's. Make Cabela's your one stop for all of your outdoor gear. Don't miss store-wide savings going on now through Labor Day, and go to Cabela's.com to receive your code for up to an additional 10% savings store-wide. Shop in-store and at Cabela's.com. 6:34 is our time. We'll have a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Don't miss store-wide savings now at Cabela's, and go to Cabela's.com to receive your code for up to an additional 10% savings store-wide. Exclusions apply. See Cabela's.com for details.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest-growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
If you think all banks are the same, it's time to think about Signature Bank Chicago. I'm Pete Olson, head of commercial banking at Signature Bank, where the people who own the bank operate the bank, not in an abstract way, but in the same hands-on, personalized way that you run your business. We don't rely on a legion of business developers to find new relationships. We don't trust an outsourced phone bank to address your customer service needs, and we don't delegate decision-making to some anonymous credit committee that you'll never meet. We do everything we can to help you succeed, because if you don't succeed, we don't succeed. Call us today to see the Signature Bank difference.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. Learn more about turning your business vision into reality. Visit signature-bank.com. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Acme Home Insurance.
Yes, I'd like to make a claim.
What are you wanting to claim, sir?
My air conditioner broke down.
Sorry, but your home insurance doesn't cover air conditioner breakdowns.
So what do you cover?
Home damage from things like earthquakes, volcanoes, a zombie apocalypse.
A zombie apocalypse? But that'll never happen.
But if it did, you'd be covered, sir.
But not my air conditioner?
I'm afraid not.
But his air conditioner could have been covered with a home warranty from American Home Shield. We cover major components of air conditioners, plus 20 other home systems and appliances, like electrical systems, plumbing, refrigerators, and more. For valuable free information, call 1-800-400-6096. Homeowners insurance can cover what might happen.
Zombies are coming!
But a home warranty helps cover what will happen.
Now the dryer won't work.
Be sure with the Shield. American Home Shield. For valuable free information, call 1-800-400-6096. That's 1-800-400-6096. 1-800-400-6096.
6:36 and a check of our roads in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. Here's Jim.
Thanks, Mike. In Porter County, the Indiana Toll Road is closed eastbound, east of Portage. Traffic is forced off at Willow Creek Road. That's exit 23 near Portage. And northbound Willow Creek is jammed to get up to US 20, which is the alternate. So consider 20 well before that point, or 94 or another alternate to get around this. The westbound toll road is open. 80, 94, and 94 have no significant delays. Edens is 22 minutes from Lake Cook to Montrose. Outbound the same. The Kennedy, now 30 minutes O'Hare to downtown. Outbound just 21. The Eisenhower is a 45-minute drive. Thorndale to the post office. Outbound 33. Stevenson. Delay starting at Harlem. Now 51 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Outbound 39. Ryan, 28 minutes, 95th to downtown. Northbound Tri-State slows Southwest Highway to the Bylong Bridge, and from the Reagan Tollway to the Eisenhower. Traffic is a service of LifeLock. Some mornings opening your eyes is hard, but LifeLock's eyes are already open to a wide range of identity threats, stuff you can't see by just monitoring your credit. If something happens, U.S.-based specialists can work to fix it. Go to lifelock.com. Use promo code RISK. Save 10%. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte, AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast. Morning shower in the area. Otherwise, clouds will break for the afternoon. Breezy, high 73. That leads us to a mainly clear night overnight, low 56. A sunny and pleasant day tomorrow and a high near 70. Currently 67. Next news at 7. Continuous news coverage at 560theanswer.com. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Grow My Retirement with Bill Geiger of Geiger Wealth. Tune in Saturday afternoons at 2 for Grow My Retirement with Bill Geiger of Geiger Wealth.
Seriously?
Good morning, Dan and Amy, and we've been talking, obviously, about Hurricane Harvey all week, and our perspective from Chicago and what we see on TV and what's being reported is one thing, but we thought we'd get a perspective on the ground in Houston from a respected, trusted voice in Houston. He is our colleague, Sam Malone. I mean, I'm sure he doesn't get this all the time.
Oh, I'm sure he's never heard this reference
The worst thing that
before.
ever happened to him was the 1980s. Sam Malone, who's the morning host for AM 1070, The Answer in Houston. Sam joins us now. Sam, thanks so much for being with us. We appreciate it.
Great to be on. How you doing?
Good.
What's going on, Amy?
I guess where do we start? Maybe in real time with where you believe the relief effort to be now that the dry out it seems to be starting to happen as the storm moves on.
Well, it's interesting. The hurricane hit us Friday, and Saturday night is when the heavy rains really hit and caused the flooding. Sunday, you saw the rescues Sunday and Monday. Well, there's still flooding because the reservoirs and the levees that had held the water back gave yesterday. So now there's like thousands of more homes. We were sitting down for dinner yesterday around 6 o'clock, and all of a sudden they're like on the news like, oh my gosh, these big reservoirs called Barker and Addicks were letting go. I think what they call there's like released water and then unreleased, unexpected. And all of a sudden, thousands of cubic feet per second were coming away.
Mm.
So it's still going on now. There's still rescues going on right now.
And
it's amazing that last Thursday, we were like, oh, yeah, the hurricane's coming. Boom. Dude, we're still digging out this.
And is that the reason that the governor has called for National Guardsmen from other states?
Yeah, he rounded up all the National Guardsmen here in Texas. I think it was 12,000. And then it just became obvious we need more help because the storm, which started southwest of us in Corpus, which is about 200-ish miles away, then hit us. And now it's hammering the Beaumont area, which is east, about an hour and a half east, where the Beaumont water station just gave up due to flooding. So they're having a water issue there. And then you saw the nursing home and the rescue sites being flooded. So this is a bad storm.
Well, and then you have the chemical plant explosion in Crosby, correct?
Yeah, Crosby is in our counties in Harris County. It's northeast of us about 50 minutes. So they had problems keeping these chemicals cool due to power issues while there was a big explosion. And there were reporters standing there last night going, hey, this is dangerous, this could explode. And it did. So there's all these ancillary problems as a result of this hurricane.
Now, Sam, where are you specifically, and how have you been impacted other than traveling in the area?
Well, I live pretty much smack dab in the middle of Houston. If you look at Houston, put a thumbtack in the middle, that's where I live. And it was pretty severe. The radio station is southwest, and our TV studios are I'm on the western side of the city. And we're in a high-rise building, a new development that's built up very high. We've had flooding since the big hurricane was in 1900, right? So homes built after Tropical Storm Allison were built up. That was in 2001. So a lot of properties, like my home was built after '01, it's built up pretty high. Office buildings, stores, built up pretty high. So newer things are able to ride out this flood. Post-World War II homes built in the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and such, it was very difficult for them because they're literally flat to the street. So where we are, in fact, our radio station, which is AM 1070, The Answer, once we had an engineer stay at a Hilton next to our radio station, and the water came up so high that he escaped the building. He said it was chest deep, and was able to swim, like doggy paddle, to the Hilton.
Wow.
Late, around 2 a.m., 3 a.m. Saturday morning, in the Sunday, and he said he just couldn't get back. He got to the Hilton. He let me tell you. So I swam to the Hilton. I'm like, what?
What?
And what?
That's a straight guy walks into a bar. Hey, I swam to the Hilton. Well, we assume
right.
he's okay, and is the station back up and running, or what's going on there?
Yeah, so it was on autopilot, and then yesterday was the first day our operations manager, news director, and team got into the building, and I got into my facility, and we were able to do our first show yesterday. So yesterday was the first time we were back on the air since the storm.
Just some perspective. I know this rescues are still going on. This is still happening in real time, the crisis. So, you don't want to do too much Monday morning quarterbacking, but there are these discussions about the preparedness at the local level, the apparent disagreement between state and local officials about evacuation orders. How much of that is being discussed in Houston? How much has the mayor come under criticism, if at all, at this point, for deciding not to issue an evacuation order?
Well, issuing an evacuation order like Chicago, trying to tell people in Chicago to hit the road is tough. Houston's the fourth largest city.
Mm-hmm.
We're 620 square miles, and our metro is 6 million people. We tried an evacuation in 2005 during a hurricane called Rita, and more people died sitting in their cars for 20-something hours.
It was hot.
In the hurricane. Yeah, it was very hot that day, and we just had what was the hurricane in Louisiana? Katrina, and then we had Rita soon, like 3 weeks after. So evacuating stuff, the mayor hasn't come up with a good plan. I'm not a fan of the mayor. If you have deep water issues and floods, which we had 2 last year, why don't you have a flotilla of these great men with their boats that we have now?
Yeah.
So there was no plan. Like there was a call, hey, if you have a boat, help out.
People did,
good
though.
old boys.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but it was Dunkirk. It wasn't organized, is what you're saying. Yeah.
Right. And instead of having a call list of all these great men, these good old boys and bubbas with their John boats and bass boats and flat bottom bay boats, maybe things could have been expedited. We're still waiting for the water to go down before we go deep into the facts and figures.
Oh, it's just amazing. 11 trillion gallons of rain fell. And we're learning this morning 37 dead, and that body count may rise.
Yeah, I mean, it's sad. Well, we lost a police officer.
Right.
I think it was on Sunday. He lost a pastor and his wife a day or 2 ago, a family of 6.
Mm-hmm.
The water, let me tell you something, that water it was going through our street with white caps. We were sitting in our home, and my wife and I are looking out, and I videotaped some of it. And I'm like, oh, my goodness. And then this dude goes by in a canoe, right, in front of my house, which was odd looking, and he's waving. And I'm like, there's that much water to propel his canoe?
Well, so that's actually an important point. I haven't heard that discussed much. You think of these rescues, and people are just kind of standing in 6 or 8 feet of water, or doggy paddling in 8 feet of water. But the problem is there's a real current, and so people are swept out or swept into dangerous areas where they can be trapped as the water rises.
That's exactly right. Water moves. In our case, it was moving from west to east. And not only do you have current, you have unknown objects. You have all kinds of critters out there. My producer lost his home and 2 cars. And to his surprise, there was a 2-foot water snake in his bedroom when he was trying to go through the house.
Welcome home.
So,
yeah, hi, honey.
You're right.
Now, do most people have flood insurance?
Okay, if you have a mortgage, you have flood insurance.
Okay.
If you don't have a mortgage, you may have waived it for the cost. In other words, if you get a mortgage today and Amy, you're going to buy a house, they go, okay, you must have flood insurance.
Okay.
But if you've been in the house for 30, 40 years and you own it, there's no rules. You don't have to. So there's people who didn't have flood insurance as well.
Yeah, and that's another discussion about the federal flood insurance program and whether it presents perverse incentives to continue to rebuild in floodplains.
Yeah, it's a mess. I mean, look, we get it. You guys have really tough winters. You know, I've been to Chicago a lot. California has earthquakes and forest fires. Pacific Northwest has volcanoes. New York City has blizzards. I was in Buffalo for 3 years. Every area has its negatives. We just happen to have hurricanes and like kind of flooding. And you know what? We'll figure it out. We'll deal with it, and we'll be back up and running soon.
Hey, Sam, I wanted to ask you about 41-year-old Colette Salser. She was the nurse technician who died. She was found face down in the water, and her 3-year-old girl was clinging to her back. Do you know any more information about that, the woman and her daughter?
No, just that. I mean, that story just sends chills. You know, the baby's just hanging on. There was an Eagle Scout. I'm an Eagle Scout. There was a 25-year-old Eagle Scout yesterday who walked into a home, his sister's home, to feed the cats if he could find them, and got electrocuted and died.
Oh, jeez.
Right, you know, there's these stories where, you know, people they're trying to escape or do good.
Yeah.
The police officer, Joe Perez, who died.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of sad stories, but then again, there's a lot of great stories. J.J. Watt from my Houston Texans has raised over $9 million. You know, we're seeing a lot of love here. George Strait, who's obviously from San Antonio, looks like he's going to put together a kind of a charity concert. So out of all this darkness is coming some good rays of light.
Yeah, and a lot of the heroism and the good Samaritanism of the Cajun Navy and so many other people, first responders, like you were saying. He is Sam Malone, the morning host of AM 1070's The Answer in Houston. Sam, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
You got it, Dan. Thanks, Amy.
Take care down there.
Yeah, we're glad you're safe. And Sam joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
It's what Chicago is talking about. It's Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy on AM 560. The Answer.
Forecast for today, we're going to have a brief morning shower in parts. Otherwise, clouds, some sun, breezy, cool, a high of 73 degrees. Tonight, clear, a low of 56. And then tomorrow, mostly sunny skies, pleasant, a high of 70. Let's get into our alarm detection systems. Traffic Center, here is Jim Telemonte.
Thanks, Amy and Dan. An overnight truck fire and ensuing diesel spill still has the eastbound Indiana toll road closed in Porter County between State Road 149 and 49. Eastbound traffic is forced off at Willow Creek Road near Portage, and northbound Willow Creek then is jammed up to US 20, which is the alternate. The westbound toll road is fine. 80, 94, 94 have smooth sailing right now through the region. Eden's 26 minutes, like Cook to Montrose, outbound 23. Kennedy, now 37 minutes, so O'Hare to downtown, outbound 32. The Eisenhower's a 57-minute drive, Thorndale to downtown, outbound 38. Stevenson from 355 to the drive, it's an hour and 2 minutes, outbound 42 minutes. Ryan, 30 minutes, 95th to downtown. I-57, 29 minutes, I-80 to the merge, Bishop 423. Northbound Tri-State heavy, Southwest Highway to the Mylong Bridge, and from the Reagan Tollway to the Eisenhower. I'm Jim Talamonte in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center.
I'm Keith Peters in for Lou Dobbs. President Trump wants to bring back Main Street. The latest economic reports and flood policies plunge in Houston. Those stories next.
Cancellation fee may apply, subject to eligibility. Not available in Alaska, Missouri, and Washington. Waiting period and deductible apply. Coverage provided and administered by Warranty Corporation or its affiliates. Not affiliated with any manufacturer or dealership. Visit tocowarranty.com for complete terms and conditions. You look stressed.
My car broke down. I just got a quote for the repair. I don't have that kind of money.
You don't have a vehicle service contract from Toco?
What's that?
Well, you know how drivers have auto insurance to protect against accidents? Well, this is a monthly service contract that protects against costly repairs. If it's covered in your policy, they pay. When my transmission and air conditioner broke, the Toco plan paid the whole thing. They dealt with a licensed mechanic, took care of the bill, they even paid for my car rental. And all Toco plans are backed by an AmTrust financial insurance carrier.
It must be expensive.
Not at all. There wasn't even a down payment, and I've already saved hundreds of dollars on repairs, not to mention the stress.
Protect yourself from the expense and stress of unexpected repairs. Call today for your free quote. 800-276-2864. That's 800-276-2864. 800-276-2864.
President Trump says he wants to work with Republicans and Democrats alike to bring back Main Street by reducing the tax burden on companies and workers. Speaking in Springfield, Missouri, the president said his tax overhaul plan will be pro-growth, pro-jobs, pro-worker, and pro-American. Economic reports we anticipate today include the Institute for Supply Management's Index of Business Conditions in Greater Chicago, weekly chain store sales figures, and a new jobless claims update. The AP reports that 9% fewer homes and other properties in the Houston area had flood insurance when Harvey hit the city compared to 5 years ago. That means many residents fleeing Harvey's floodwaters have no financial backup to fix their homes. Please join us for Lou Dobbs tonight at 7 and 11 Eastern on the Fox Business Network. I'm Keith Peters for the Lou Dobbs Financial Report.
Policies issued by American General Life Insurance Company, Houston, Texas. Not available in all states. For details, visit AIGdirect.com.
If you're young and healthy, you don't need life insurance, right? Yeah, that's what I used to think too, until my brother died at 38. Joe left his wife with 2 kids, a mortgage, and a stack of bills she couldn't pay. Mary had to sell the house and move everybody into this tiny 2-bedroom apartment just to make ends meet. I never want to do that to my wife, so I got life insurance. I called AIG Direct and was really surprised how affordable it is. Just $14 a month for $250,000 of term life coverage. Listen, if you have a family, you should seriously think about getting life insurance. You'll feel a lot better having it, trust me.
Call AIG Direct for a free no-obligation quote. The call takes less than 5 minutes, and you could save up to 70%. Call now, 1-800-700-5593. That's 1-800-700-5593. 1-800-700-5593.
Upstream-ideas.com, premium content that complements what we do each morning on this show. It's our digital platform with original content like my 60 Seconds of Sanity commentaries, Pat Hughes' 2-minute warnings, our Man on the Street Follow the Logic segments, podcast for Illinois Rising program covering state policy and politics. That program airs Sundays at 3 p.m. on these airwaves. Our new series, Heart of the Matter, which features professional women speaking colleague to colleague about the important policy issues of the day. And our long-form interview series, Against the Current, this week featuring the WVON Morning Drive team, Charles Thomas and Maze Jackson. We have a discussion about race relations and racial politics in Chicago and Illinois. You can check it all out and sign up at upstream-ideas.com.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies.
I've had 10 major surgeries, including 3 brain surgeries. And I have extreme rheumatoid arthritis, lupus, and fibromyalgia. And I wanted to let him know that his Balance of Nature have helped boost my immune system so much because I'm on injectable medications for the rheumatoid, and they bring down your immune system. Since I've been taking Balance of Nature, I haven't gotten a cold, nothing. It really helped me tremendously.
Good health is only a phone call away. What are you waiting for? Don't miss your opportunity to get a free month's supply of Balance of Nature. Call 1-800-2468-751. That's 1-800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com.
Use promo code CHICAGO.
Message and data rates may apply.
Attention, it is illegal to text and drive. So if you're experiencing hair loss and you want a permanent solution, please pull over now, because an incredible offer that could give you your hair back is just one text away. Bosley is America's #1 hair restoration expert, always pioneering the latest technology. And now we're giving everyone who texts GROW to 543-543. An absolutely free information kit that reveals just how easy and affordable this permanent solution really is. Don't wait. When you text GROW to 543-543, we'll also give you a gift card for $250 off. Millions of men and women have come to Bosley for a permanent solution to hair loss. So pull over now and see for yourself how great your hair could look with an absolutely free information kit. Text GROW to 543-543. Plus, get a free gift card. This amazing offer is just one text away. GROW to 543-543.
Did you know that the average family visits 5 websites before booking a vacation rental? With all this searching from site to site, it can take hours, if not days, to find the perfect place to stay. This is not the ideal way to start your vacation. Save time and money today by visiting tripping.com, the world's largest vacation rental search engine. Vacation rentals are the perfect option for families, groups, and even solo travelers. They're more affordable than hotels, offer way more space, and come with perks like free Wi-Fi, parking, fully stocked kitchens, backyards, and hot tubs. And Tripping.com is the fastest and easiest way to find the perfect place for you. Simply type in your destination, and Tripping.com shows you all available properties from the top vacation rental sites, so you can search and compare listings all in one place. Visit Tripping.com to find the best vacation rental for your family. That's Tripping.com. To find a place to stay, go to Tripping.com today.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, dating deal breakers. That's a fun topic, except when Planned Parenthood opens it. Fill in the blank, Planned Parenthood tweeted yesterday. The person I'm going out with can never blank. Tell us your dating deal breakers. Oh, they got some responses. Molly Hemingway, our friend over at the Federalist, filled in the blank with, the person I'm going out with can never kill babies.
How about the person I'm going out with could never sell body parts?
Illegally sell body parts.
Illegally sell baby body parts.
Yeah.
Can never wear a pea hat.
The person I'm going out with can never defend Margaret Sanger's belief in eugenics.
Why would they?
The person I'm going out with can never believe that Planned Parenthood actually offers mammograms. And so on and so forth. The person I'm going out with can never profit off the systemic abuse of women. Yeah. How about the person I'm going out with can never work or donate to Planned Parenthood? That distinguishes me from, say, Bruce
That's your
Rauner.
deal breaker? That's it?
That would be one of them. Yeah, actually.
You probably have a list. Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Google continues to try and silence dissent while Evergreen State pays a price for doing the same on campus. That's at 7:07.
And a true hole-in-one on the golf course. We'll explain. But first, let's go into the newsroom and say hello to Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, here are the stories we're following at this hour. There is a beach hazard statement issued for Lake Michigan beaches. That after a swimmer remains lost after jumping into Lake Michigan on Chicago's north side early this morning. A deadly shooting involving an off-duty Chicago police officer in Hazel Crest. Chicago aldermen calling for more regulations after the success of ride-sharing companies. Cubs pound the Pirates. Twins trounce the White Sox. Bears battle the Browns. We'll have a morning shower in spots. Otherwise, a high of 73 degrees today. WIND Chicago News Time, 7 o'clock.
This is a Fox News alert. Middle of the flooding in Texas, a chemical reaction. I'm Dave Anthony.
They said it was going to blow up. They said the plant was going to blow up.
He and his neighbors were evacuated in the immediate area of a chemical plant in Crosby, warned that there might be an explosion. Well, at 2 a.m., there was a chemical reaction of some sort.
We understand that this wasn't necessarily an explosion at the chemical plant, but now officials saying it was a chemical reaction that left these 10 Harris County deputies hurt and sent to the hospital. They described it feeling like standing over a fire pit. There were reports of plumes of black smoke overnight, initially thought to be an explosion. The chemical company is saying there is still a potential for more of these chemical reactions.
Fox's Matt Finn in Crosby. The problem is the plant has lost power. It's flooded, and without electricity, those chemicals aren't refrigerated, and without refrigeration, they become explosive. A reservoir keeps spilling over in the Houston area. This man woke up to an email overnight ordering mandatory evacuations in Fort Bend County.
I was thinking about getting out. Yeah, just getting probably to my aunt's house.
Rising rivers could also flood more neighborhoods in southeast Texas. Thousands remain in shelters. FEMA Administrator Brock Long says a lot of relief is coming.
3 million meals a day, over 2 million bottles of water per day, and that's only going to grow in some cases.
In one city, Beaumont, they really need that water. Nothing is coming out of the tap. Flooding knocked out the main pump station. A sheriff's deputy killed in the line of duty in Sacramento. Shot at a hotel by a suspect who fired through the door of his room.
He died on the way to the hospital during the treatment for his gunshot wound.
Sheriff Scott Jones, 2 California Highway Patrol officers were wounded as they probed a car theft ring. The suspect jumped over a balcony but was captured after crashing his car going the wrong way down a busy street. Fox News, fair and balanced.
Hot. Partly sunny skies this early morning. Winds from the north-northeast at 10 miles an hour at 7:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. Beachgoers in Chicagoland and northwest Indiana being warned about Taking a dip in Lake Michigan, the National Weather Service issuing a beach hazard statement, life-threatening waves and currents expected at beaches along the lakeshore. A swimmer remains lost after jumping into Lake Michigan on Chicago's north side. A man and a woman entered the lake early this morning in the 5500 block of North Lakeshore Drive. The woman was able to get out of the water. The man could not. Divers began a search, but were unable to find that victim. After almost a year of fighting over school funding, Governor Bruce Rauner is not even waiting 2 days to sign the state's new school funding agreement into law. Governor will put his signature on the plan around 2:30 this afternoon. A CPS special education teacher is accused of dealing ammunition and gun accessories on the South Side. Brett Turpin has also been suspended from teaching at Kershaw Elementary School. An investigation is underway following a deadly shooting involving an off-duty Chicago police officer in South suburban Hazel Crest, where Police Chief Mitchell Davis says two tried to rob that officer Tuesday night after he arranged a meeting online to buy a computer.
One of the subjects pulled a gun, and they proceeded to go through his pockets while they had the gun on him and take all of his personal possessions out of his pocket.
The officer then shot and killed one of the suspects while the other ran off. Chicago Police Superintendent Eddie Johnson recovering from successful kidney transplant surgery. Johnson needed that kidney from his son Daniel yesterday at Rush University Medical Center. Doctors expect Johnson to remain in the hospital 3 to 5 days and then home 3 to 6 weeks. Caterpillar stock this morning is trading higher on news the company will be building tractors for the U.S. military. Cat announcing a $663 million contract with the Pentagon yesterday. The work will be done at Cat's East Peoria facility. Cubs beat the Pirates 17-3. Twins over the White Sox 11-1. Bears with rookie Mitchell Trubisky at the controls will take on the Browns at Soldier Field this evening. The news, a service of your local Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, and Ram dealer. It's the Labor Day sales event at your local Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, and Ram dealer. Get incredible deals on the award-winning lineup, but don't wait. These deals will not last long. Hurry in and see your local Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, and Ram dealer today. A check of traffic and weather is on the way next on AM 560.
Hi, I'm Jay Farner, CEO of Quicken Loans. If you're in the market to buy a home right now, you know how challenging it is out there. You're competing against cash buyers, so it's critical that you work with a reputable, established mortgage company like Quicken Loans. By getting pre-approved with us, sellers will know that you're serious and ready to close when you make that offer. Here's one more way to get the home you want. You could buy a $150,000 home with as little as $1,500 down with our 1% down payment option. The rate today on a 30-year fixed-rate mortgage is 3.99%, APR 4.19%. For 7 years in a row now, J.D. Power has ranked Quicken Loans highest in the nation for customer satisfaction for primary mortgage origination. And for the 4th year in a row, they've also ranked us highest in the nation for mortgage servicing. Call us today at 800-QUICKEN or go to QuickenLoans.com. That's 800-QUICKEN.
For J.D. Power award information, visit jdpower.com. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLSConsumerAccess.org number 3030.
We're never going to meet these deadlines.
We need to staff up and fast.
How are we going to find the number of people and the quality of work we need?
I've already made calls to several industrial staffing companies, and I think ClearStaff is the best choice and right in our budget.
Keep talking. Tell me more.
ClearStaff provides a realistic full staffing plan and a live customer service rep to take your calls 24/7. This gives you the assurance that any staffing issue will get resolved quickly. Every manager knows that communication is the key. Short staff and call-offs are unpredictable, but with ClearStaff's responsive customer service team, they can take appropriate measure to get you the people you need to get your job done. The labor market is very tight right now. ClearStaff can provide current data for any area in the greater Chicago market. For larger companies, they can also provide on-site supervision and web-based time and attendance systems. ClearStaff.net is an industrial-strength staffing provider. Staff up today at ClearStaff.net. That's ClearStaff.net.
7:06 and a check of the roads in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. Here's Jim.
Like the Indiana Toll Road has reopened eastbound in Porter County after an overnight truck fire and diesel spill. Now it's only a right lane which is closed. This is in the area between State Road 149 and State Road 49. Traffic had been diverted off well west of there at Willow Creek now. Now it's only a right lane closure on the eastbound toll road, and westbound is open. Eden's 26 minutes, Lake Hook to Montrose, outbound 23. The Kennedy, now 42 minutes, O'Hare to downtown. 20 from Montrose, 17 in the Express. Now outbound 42 minutes to O'Hare. The Eisenhower, 55 minutes, Thorndale to the post office. 37 from Manheim, outbound 46 to Thorndale. Stevenson, an hour, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 40 minutes. Ryan, 30 minutes, 95th to downtown. Tri-state delays are northbound. Southwest Highway to the Vine Long Bridge, from the Stevenson to the Hinsdale Oasis, and from the Reagan Tollway to North Avenue. Northbound Veterans Memorial slow from I-55 to the Reagan Tollway, and from the Army Trail Toll to 290. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte, AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast with our meteorologist, Michael Stack.
A shower early, then clouds giving way to some sunshine. Breezy and not as warm today. High 72. Mostly clear skies tonight. Low 56. Mainly sunny Friday. High 71. Saturday, plenty of sunshine. High 76. I'm Michael Stack on AM 560, The Answer.
Currently 67 degrees. Next news at 7:30. And Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Radio Garden Sense, a show bringing your property's gardening needs alive. Radio Garden Sense, Sunday mornings at 11 on AM 560, The Answer.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. Interesting Fox News poll out yesterday of registered voters. White supremacists versus the media. Which represents a greater threat to America? 47% of registered voters think white supremacists are a greater threat. 40% think the news media is.
And there was also a report out yesterday that President Trump is more threatened by the news media than white supremacist groups. That was an opinion piece.
Well, what about that? And let me include in the media those that actually have the market share of control over communication channels. I'm not talking about the Amazon Post or the New York Times even. I'm talking about Google and Facebook in particular.
Oh, yeah.
Which represents a greater threat? 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line. Google moving to silence dissent. Now, again, this is private action, as was the case with the engineer, the software engineer they fired. But this story out yesterday, Eric Schmidt, the chairman of Alphabet, the Google parent company, has given, through his family foundation, more than $21 million to the New America Foundation.
What's that?
It's a left think tank.
Okay.
It's run by former news media type Anne-Marie Slaughter. And Slaughter is exactly what happened after Barry Lynn, who runs the open markets division of New America, or did, is been relieved, as has his team of 10 employees and unpaid fellows. It was time for the New America Foundation and open markets to separate. Let open markets go out on its own and explore, because Barry Lynn and his team, after praising the European Union's $3 billion antitrust penalty, essentially, against Google, they also, his group, criticized the termination of James Damore, the Google software engineer. And now, I don't want you to think that Eric Schmidt had anything to do with this, because it was a mutual decision for Barry to spin out his open markets program that was in no way influenced by Google or Mr. Schmidt. New America's Foundation features the Eric Schmidt Ideas Center.
Oh, Oh, how
but Eric Schmidt, I mean, don't feel like he's putting his thumb on the scale. Now, again, it's a private foundation. He can give his money wherever he wants. He can impose his will through the resources he has as he sees fit with a nonprofit foundation or private business. I mean, within the strictures of the law, of course. So I'm not suggesting there should be any kind of government intervention here. I'm just suggesting you have a concentration of power in the hands of Google and Facebook with respect to communication. And does that represent more of a threat than, say, 6 to 10,000 ignorant racists roaming around the hinterlands in this country? 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro, answer line. And there is some pushback happening, though, for the silence the silencing of dissent. We've talked about the University of Missouri, how they've suffered.
3 dorms are closed down. 3. And one of them they just built 2 years ago.
That was after the,
Michelle, or what's her name?
Well, yes, after.
Melissa, what's it, Clark, or what was her name?
No.
Click. Yes.
Right. After the football team boycotted and then the reporter was accosted, the professors are gone, so forth.
Hung out in the square for 2 weeks.
So when they turned that campus over to the mob, they suffered as a result. That's the bottom line. Well, the same thing's happening at Evergreen State, I'm happy to report.
Oh, is enrollment down?
The school faces a $2.1 million budget shortfall for the coming fiscal year, which is a big number for a small school, due in part to a drop in enrollment. The institution has already handed out some temporary layoff notices as officials grapple with trying to balance the books. Registration down about 5% year over year, according to an August 28th memo to the campus community.
Well, you reap what you sow. I could care. I think that's the best news all day.
Well, here's the other thing, too, that's interesting, right? Nearly all of the students they lost are non-residents who traditionally pay.
Oh, they pay more, like double
higher
almost.
Tuition, right? But it also suggests that the brand has been tarnished nationally. So people may still go to the college locally because it's convenient or it's affordable or the combination of the two. That's one thing. But in terms of their ability to attract students from outside of Olympia, Washington, that has been perhaps and hopefully
destroyed,
irreparably damaged, at least until they decide that they want to be an institution of higher learning, which they're not.
I would never send my kids to that school. And if my kids were there, I would leave. It's a mob mentality. It's anarchy, and your kids aren't safe.
Mobocracy, yeah.
Oh, a mobocracy. Nice.
Deborah in Palatine, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Good morning. Without question, the media is definitely a bigger threat, and they're controlled by the left. Their bias is so blatant, and he who controls the media controls the culture. I mean, we see that if the messaging were different, and they took a different turn, I'm guaranteeing you after time, people would jump on that bandwagon. So they're very powerful, way more so, like you said, than 6 to 10,000 people.
Thanks for the call, Deborah. And so this dovetails with the 2020 presidential campaign, and I know we're a little early to be talking about that. We haven't even gotten to the midterms, or we're more than a year away from the midterms. I mean, for gosh sakes.
But tell me about 2020.
Well, but I mean, you have all these CEOs. I mean, everybody's running for president. This is
Mark Zuckerberg.
A story out this week, NBC News. Everyone's running for president 2020, and they go through, all the traditional politicians, but then also the celebrities like Mark Cuban and Dwayne Johnson and Mark Zuckerberg. And so on that score, Zuckerberg in particular, and also Tim Cook, I want to get to from Apple. But Zuckerberg, Glenn Reynolds had a good piece in USA Today this week about it, and he talked, arguing why Zuckerberg's never going to be president. I mean, one, he has the personality of an oil painting. Two, though, and more importantly, and this comes from the left, too, the power that he has at Facebook and the idea of melding that with government. This is from Salon.com writer. Zuckerberg's election would mean handing over the leadership of an already privacy-violating government to the creator of one of the world's most invasive surveillance platforms. Although he's only ever worked in the private sector, Zuckerberg's history of pushing data collection and analysis well beyond reasonable limits suggests that he would take the technocratic elements of Obama's presidency into overdrive. That's criticism coming from the left of Zuckerberg. his biggest problem may be, as Glenn Reynolds argues, that Silicon Valley is losing its luster in the public's mind. Bob in Villa Park, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Good morning. I feel like I'm the only one who sees the irony that when the Nazis took over, they controlled the media and they had violent protests to silence everybody. But isn't this what Antifa, the anti-fascists, are doing now, and our current media?
Yes, that's exactly right. But thanks for the call, Bob. The Antifa, it's like calling a fat guy skinny. I mean, calling Antifa anti-fascist. It's one of those reverse nicknames, if you will. But here's how fascism works. Then this was the subject of my commentary this week, my 60 seconds. The state rolls up civil society. All of it. Business, arts, media, the church, all of it. Obviously, education, the academy. And so what you need, and what we know from history, is you need the elites of those institutions to be complicit. That's actually what gave rise to the Third Reich. Go back and examine the story of Dietrich Bonhoeffer, one of the dissident theologians, hero, and it brings it into perspective. 2/3 of the Protestant ministers in Germany went along with Hitler. There was a resistance of a small group, but the majority went along with Hitler. Media, big business, the corporate sector, the academy, intellectuals rolled in with Hitler. I mean, and frankly, dating back to some of the anti-Semitism towards the end that was promulgated by Martin Luther towards the end of his life. So that's how it actually happens. It's not one man who just takes over and imposes his will. No one man can do that. He needs accomplices. He needs people to be complicit. And he needs people in places of influence and power. And that's how fascism comes to be. It's not because one person defeats another person in an election. Yes, that's the head of any totalitarian regime, whether it's in North Korea or Russia. But you have to have civil society comply and allow the state to fold them in. And if you don't understand that, then you just don't know history. You're just another one of these babbling baboons wearing black masks on college campuses. And so, by the way, there is some pushback. Pushback is happening. We mentioned yesterday from the academy, from the Ivy League schools, these 15 or so professors who had issued a joint missive to incoming students. Think for yourself. Don't go along with what's popular. Don't be afraid to take criticism. Don't allow yourself to be silenced. That's good news. Very good news. You have organizations, Christian and Muslim organizations, fighting back against the Southern Poverty Law Center, which has been essentially given standing by the bankrupt big government media as some arbiter of what is and what is not a hate group. Well, James Kennedy Ministries filed a lawsuit against the Southern Poverty Law Center this week for being designated a hate group because it believes in traditional marriage. And this is a gentleman, an organization we've talked about before, Majid Nawaz, who's a British politician, founder of the anti-Islamist organization, the Quilliam Foundation in the UK, has joined that lawsuit because he also has been labeled a hate, and the Quilliam Foundation, a hate group by the Southern Poverty Law Center because he's not an Islamo-fascist apologist. And by the way, I don't agree. He doesn't go far enough as far as I'm concerned, Nawaz, but he's still labeled a hate group by the Southern Poverty Law Center, and people and the media reports this without scrutiny, without any perspective.
Well, yeah, they attribute it to the Southern Poverty Law Center.
Yeah. Well,
but where can they go to get their reputation back after they get their names off the list?
Well, right. Well, that's the point. And when it gets amplified by a media that is uncritical, Oh, Southern Poverty Law Center. Oh, yeah. Well, Tim Cook is raising $2 million for the Southern Poverty Law Center, the CEO of Apple. So they must be
reputable.
Yeah, they must be a reputable group. They must be a legitimate arbiter of who and who is not propagating hate. Wrong. It's just a left-wing front to raise a ton of money and extend influence for Richard Cohen. It has nothing to do with being a fair arbiter of who is trying to advance a hateful ideology and using violence. Because if that was the case, Antifa would be on there, wouldn't they?
You've made the switch, and it feels so good. You've switched to Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Sunshine right now. It's going to be a little bit cooler than we're used to. Breezy, a high of 73 degrees. Tonight, clear, a low of 56. And for tomorrow, we're going to have sunshine, pleasant day, a high of 70. Let's get into our alarm detection systems. Traffic Center, here is the one and only Jim Telemonte.
Thanks, Amy and Dan. Good morning. Eastbound Indiana Toll Road in the area east of Portage. Between State Road 149 and State Road 49, there is still a right lane closure after an overnight truck fire and diesel spill. The roadway had been closed. It is now open. Edens is 26 minutes. Like Cook to Montrose, outbound 27. Kennedy, delay starting in Harlem. 53 minutes. O'Hare to downtown. Outbound, it's 42 minutes. Inbound Eisenhower, 55 minutes. Thorndale to the post office, 37 from Manheim. Outbound 46 to Thorndale. Stevenson, an hour, 355 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 40 minutes. Ryan, 30 minutes, 95th to downtown. I-57, 30 minutes from I-80 to the merge. Bishop 424. Tri-State, northbound, heavy southwest highway to the Mylong Bridge, from the Stevenson to the Hinsdale Oasis, and from the Reagan Tollway to North Avenue. Veterans Memorial, slow I-55 to the Reagan Tollway, the Army Trail toll to 290. The other tollways are good. I'm Jim Talamonte, the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center.
Hey, realtors, are you looking to reduce your stress and sell homes faster? Then you need to do what I did and work with David Hochberg over there at Pearl Mortgage. David wants to eliminate your stress during the loan approval process by approving your buyers before you show them homes. That's right. David will approve your buyers before you begin showing your buyers homes, so you know exactly what they can afford. And with the Team Hochberg loan approval, your buyer's offer will stand out because you'll be able to close within 10 business days of signing that contract. Here's what you do. Call David Hochberg and Team Hochberg Loan Approval at 312-751-1333. That's 312-751-1333. Or visit am560david.com. David has helped thousands of AM560 listeners, but he can't help you if you don't call. 312-751-1333 or visit am560david.com. Pearl Mortgage, an equal housing lender, Illinois residential mortgage licensee, 4358 NMLS 19186.
When Hurricane Harvey struck Texas and the Gulf Coast over the weekend, the world turned upside down for children and families in its path. When disaster strikes, children suffer in unimaginable ways, and Save the Children is there to meet their unique needs. Even now, Save the Children is in Texas and along the Gulf Coast, making sure hurt and frightened children impacted by Hurricane Harvey get the help they need. To care for and protect children has been the mission of Save the Children for nearly 100 years. So when tragedies like Hurricane Harvey strike, they're prepared and they're on the ground for children and their families around the world and right here at home. Your $50 right now to Save the Children will deliver essential supplies for families forced to evacuate, including hygiene kits, blankets, portable cribs, and strollers. Children are counting on us. Call 888-248-0312. That's 888-248-0312. Or give online right now at savethechildren.org/radio.
How would you like to have insurance for your computer network? Something to protect your hardware and software and give you peace of mind. Well, if you're a business owner, using Turnkey IT for installation and support of your systems is like having insurance for your computer network. For one affordable monthly payment, your company gets this: a full team of certified technicians. They'll make house calls. They'll help you over the phone. They work 365 days a year, yes, even on weekends. And they also work in the background to ensure your systems are up and running the entire time. And they don't wait until there's an emergency call, because they work hard to take preventative measures to keep your network secure, backed up, and running nonstop. Turnkey IT can protect your network with the Turnkey Experience, which includes Office 365 hosting, advanced network protection, cloud backup, disaster recovery, and unlimited remote and on-site support. So find out what Turnkey IT can do for your company today. It's easy. Visit turnkey.pro. That's turnkey.pro.
Hi, I'm Lex Howard, CEO of Balance of Nature. I occasionally take new customer calls, and too often people tell me that they have heard our advertisements for years. If Balance of Nature is not currently being delivered to your doorstep, start now and begin experiencing the benefits of Balance of Nature in your life. Call and see how you can get your free month supply.
I noticed a difference in the first month.
I got rid of most of my other vitamins. I feel pretty good, even though I'm an old guy, 77. I think it's doing great.
I just feel good. I just believe they're really what they say they are.
Good health is only a phone call away. What are you waiting for? Don't miss your opportunity to find out how to get your free month supply of Balance of Nature. Call 1-800-2468-751. That's 1-800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com.
Use promo code Chicago.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
I'm Jim Durkin, founding partner of the Martech Group, a global market research firm based in Chicago since 1985 and a longtime customer of Signature Bank. When our business moved to our current Loop location, I recall seeing Mick O'Rourke and his two business partners, Brian Duncan and Kevin Bastuga, laying the foundation for Signature Bank. When Signature opened its doors in 2006, I was proud to move our accounts there and become a shareholder. Being in the consulting business, the Martech Group has a keen understanding of the value of relationships, trust, and attentiveness. Whether dealing with our U.S. practice or our international operations, Signature Bank is always there when we need them. That's why the Martech Group is proud to have Signature Bank as a valued business partner.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. Learn more about turning your business vision into reality. Visit signature-bank.com. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
AM 560, The Answer.
Rest in peace, Raleigh Massimino.
One of the best coaches at Villanova.
Well, yeah, the great
The
Villanova.
coach,
I mean,
yeah.
I guess Jay Wright, I guess he won a championship, but no championship more historic. The greatest upset at in the championship game in college basketball history, 85 Cats versus Patrick Ewing's Georgetown Hoyas. Raleigh Massimino.
A paisano. Huh?
Go
You know
ahead.
what that means?
Go
No,
ahead.
no, he's a paisano. Like he's
Go ahead, say his name.
no,
Go ahead.
Massimino.
All
Huh?
right, fine. Get it all out.
Yeah. Go. He gets it out too, though.
He does. He explained once upon a time how his life changed after that historic championship.
As a person, it made my private life very, very public, but I enjoy people. I'm a people's kind of guy, and now I travel all over the country and meet so many wonderful, wonderful people, like Perry Como, Tom Lasorda, all the great Italians in the country.
Hey.
Hey,
Yeah,
can I get in here? Hey, I got a
That's the
guy.
Entree to Perry Como and Tommy Lasorda.
That's
You
awesome.
couldn't ask for more than that. And, of course, went on to coach, replaced Tark at UNLV, coached at Cleveland State as well. The great Raleigh Massimino from the golden era of Big East basketball in the 1980s. We'll miss him.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
We're going to talk tax reform with Steve Cortes, Fox News contributor, former Trump Hispanic Advisory Council chairman at 7:37.
And some activity on a golf course. You don't want to miss this story. But first, let's go into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
67 degrees, mostly sunny skies, and Harvey is now a tropical depression. Still capable of doing damage, storm moving inland over Louisiana and bringing up to 8 more inches of rain. 10 sheriff's deputies are expected to be okay after explosions were reported at a Texas chemical plant crippled by Harvey.
They started getting irritation in their eyes, in their throat a little bit. And so, again, we use a comparison. It's like standing over a barbecue pit or something like that emanates smoke and it kind of gets in your eyes. Something to that effect.
Harris County Sheriff Ed Gonzalez this morning. The U.S. and South Korea are flying fighter jets over the Korean Peninsula in response to a North Korean missile test this week. President Trump says talking is not the answer to the North Korean nuclear crisis, tweeting yesterday that the U.S. has been talking and paying extortion money for 25 years. Former U.S. Ambassador to South Korea Christopher Hill says the president makes a good point.
North Korea doesn't appear to be at all interested in negotiation, and we shouldn't be pushing something that the other side doesn't want.
However, Ambassador Hill says it's always important to keep that diplomatic door open. Pentagon reports say there are thousands of more troops in Afghanistan than previously disclosed. Defense Department officials saying there are about 11,000 U.S. soldiers in Afghanistan. Previously, the Pentagon had said there were about 8,400 ground troops. Residents of Chicago and Northwest Indiana being warned about swimming in Lake Michigan. Stay away until at least tomorrow afternoon. Life-threatening waves and currents are expected. A swimmer remains lost after jumping into Lake Michigan on Chicago's north side. The woman was able to get out of the water who went in with the man, but the man could not exit the lake. Divers began looking for him early this morning, but were unable to locate him, and the search continues. A CPS special education teacher is accused of dealing ammunition and gun accessories on the south side. Brent Turpin faces multiple charges, including conspiracy to dispose of a firearm and ammunition to a known felon. Turpin has been suspended from teaching at the Kershaw Elementary School. Chicago Alderman is calling for more regulations on ride-sharing companies in the city. Alderman Anthony Beal moving a proposal through committee that would require all drivers to be fingerprinted and photographed before they can work for companies like Uber and Lyft. And in case your eye is on the sky, overnight, the largest asteroid to pass by Earth since records began will be in the neighborhood tomorrow. 2.7-mile-wide asteroid named Florence will pass around 145 million miles from Earth. Not to worry, it won't be this close again till the year 2500. Cubs sweep out the Pirates with a 17-3 drubbing. White Sox fall to the Twins 11-1. The news, a service of Cabela's. Make Cabela's your one-stop for all of your outdoor gear. Don't miss store-wide savings going on now through Labor Day. And go to the Cabela's.com store to receive your code for up to an additional 10% savings store-wide. Shop in-store and at Cabela's.com. 7:34 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
The founder of Black Lives Matter said white racist hate speech is not free speech.
The Joe Walsh Show.
Again, somebody stupid on the left, not understanding our Constitution, not understanding the First Amendment. Hate speech is protected.
The Joe Walsh Show. Weeknights starting at 5. Right after Sean Hannity at 2 on AM 560. The Answer.
Don't miss store-wide savings now at Cabela's, and go to Cabela's.com to receive your code for up to an additional 10% savings store-wide. Exclusions apply. See Cabela's.com for details.
Message and data rates may apply. Please don't text while driving.
Do you know the top 3 promotional items for driving new customers? We do. Do you know how to make your logo come alive and magnetically attract new, long-lasting customers? We do. And do you know how to ensure your logo is delivered on the right promotional items on time at a great price? We do. 100% satisfaction guaranteed. Who are we? We're 4imprint, the nation's leading team to make your logo shine on your choice of thousands of promotional items. And right now, we want to share with you for free the top 3 promotional items for driving new customers. Discover them now by texting TOP to 642-642. Let us show you what a difference the right promotional items can make to help grow your brand. With 4imprint, you'll get high-quality products, exclusive items, popular brands, on-time delivery, and outstanding customer service. That's what we do. Discover the top 3 promotional items for driving new customers by texting TOP to 642-642. That's TOP to 642-642.
7:36. Let's get a check of the roads. Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. Here's Jim.
Thanks, Mike. In Barrington, northbound 59 is closed between 14 and Cuba Road due to a crash. Edens runs 26 minutes. Lycook to Montrose, outbound 36. Inbound Kennedy. 53 minutes O'Hare to downtown, 29 from Montrose, 24 in the Express. Outbound 42 minutes to O'Hare. The Eisenhower. Inbound delays start at North Avenue. It is 57 minutes. Thorndale to downtown. 42 from Manheim. Outbound 51 to Thorndale. Stevenson, an hour and 2 minutes, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive, 47 minutes from the Tri-State, about 38 minutes to 3:55. John Ryan, 32 minutes, 95th to downtown. Lakeshore Drive, still looking pretty good southbound. Northbound, it's heavy from Soldier Field to Jackson. Northbound Tri-State delays are from Southwest Highway to the Mile Long Bridge, from the Stevenson to the Hinsdale Oasis, from the Reagan-Tillway to North Avenue, Veterans Memorial, slow I-55 to the Reagan-Tillway, Butterfield to St. Charles, and North Avenue to 290. Indiana Toll Road eastbound, there's a right lane closure in Porter County. State Road 149 after an overnight truck fire. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Calamonte, AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast. Morning shower moving out of the area. Otherwise, we'll have clouds and breezy conditions throughout the day. High 73, mainly clear, and 56 overnight. Currently, we have 67 degrees. Your next news update is at 8, and Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Advanced Planning Advisors, bringing you Smart Money Talk with Mike Moylan and Rob Curvin, Saturday mornings at 6.
The hypocrites scatter when I shine the bright light of reason. I'm Larry Elder. Join me tonight at 7, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, good news with respect to GDP growth. U.S. economy grew a little bit faster than initially thought, revised upward to 3% from April to June from the originally reported 2.7%. So that's a little bit of encouraging news.
Didn't I predict 6% by the end of the year?
You're very optimistic.
I am.
You and Steve Moore.
Yes.
Are the two...
well, he went 12%. I went 6%.
The two unadulterated optimists. There's no question. This less good news. From 2013 to 2016, the average tax bill for Americans increased 41% to the point where this is the reality. People living in a single household, according to Bureau of Labor Statistics, which includes families, financial independent individuals, people living in a single household who share expenses, so it runs the gamut. The average American spent more on federal, state, and local taxes than they did on food and clothing combined. So that gives you a little bit of perspective in terms of where your household budget is being distributed or redistributed thanks to government. Of course, that's even more pronounced in Illinois, where you have the highest state and local tax burden in the country. So tax reform is a salient issue. It was also a central promise of the Trump candidacy, which is why he was in Springfield, Missouri yesterday, taking up the issue and outlining the principles that should inform tax reform.
Here are my 4 principles for tax reform. First, we need a tax code that is simple, fair, and easy to understand. That means getting rid of the loopholes and complexity that primarily benefit the wealthiest Americans and special interests. Second, we need a competitive tax code that creates more jobs and higher wages for Americans. It's time to give American workers the pay raise that they've been looking for many, many years. The third principle for tax reform is a crucial one: tax relief for middle-class families. In a way, and I've been saying this for a long time, they've been sort of the forgotten people. But they're not forgotten any longer, I can tell you that. Fourth and finally, we want to bring back trillions of dollars in wealth that's parked overseas.
So there you go. Those are the 4 principles. How to translate those principles into actual policy that Republican majorities can get behind and move to the president's desk. For that, we turn to our friend Steve Cortes, Fox News contributor, former head of Trump's Hispanic Advisory Council. Steve, thanks for being with us.
Dan, good morning. Thanks for having me.
So he outlined the principles. Those are really not in very much controversy. They're kind of long-standing, center-cut GOP principles. Rand Paul saying he's ready to take up tax reform. Everybody's ready to take up tax reform. So how optimistic should we be that we're going to get something that comports with Trump's principles?
Well, we'll see, Dan. I would say I'm guardedly optimistic. And the reason I'm guardedly optimistic and not incredibly optimistic is because of the way that Senate Republicans lately have been willing to war with the president in a very public way. I think they've been hesitant, to say the least, about implementing his agenda from the very beginning. I think from the time he was elected, quite frankly. But the fact that they're being public about it now, people like Senator Corker questioning even his stability, that worries me. I think that, and I'll say this as a Trump partisan, I think those Senate Republicans need to wake up to what America said loudly in 2016, which is that the status quo is not okay, and nowhere more so than when it comes to economic growth. We've had a decade of sluggish, slow economic growth in this country, and not just that, the benefits of that slow growth have flowed almost entirely to the very highest income earners in our society, to the top 1%. The average American worker has yet to have a pay increase in this century, and it's 2017. So it is high time that middle America starts to see its economic prosperity grow. I'm so glad that he went literally to the middle of the country to talk about middle America, and this is a necessity. So I think we'll get it done, but I wouldn't bet a lot of money on it. I'd bet a small car, not a large car, because the Senate Republicans worry me.
Right, but I mean, it lacked a lot of specifics yesterday, so I want to know, who will see the cuts, what will the cuts be, and how are they going to pay for it all?
Right. And Amy, listen, I'm glad you asked. First of all, in terms of pay for it all, if I can start with your last point first, I don't believe personally that we have to pay for it. It's our money. The government should figure out how it can control spending. But if it can't, I don't think we should be penny wise but pound foolish. In other words, we need economic growth. And the only way we're going to ever solve our entitlement problems in this country, the demographic and entitlement problems that are looming, the only way we can possibly afford our entitlements is by much, much faster economic growth. So perhaps we increase the deficit in the near term, but in the long term, faster economic growth not only will benefit the people, but will actually also greatly benefit government. But in terms of who will get the cuts, so I think this is so important because the Democrats, as they often do, and even some squishy Republicans, I think, are starting to already demagogue that this is a giveaway to the rich. A lot of wealthy people who live in high-tax places like Chicago, like California, New York, under the president's proposals, their taxes may very well actually go up because they're going to lose some of the massive deductions of their property and state income taxes. So if you're a W-2 high earner, you work for a law firm in Los Angeles, or you work for a Wall Street bank in Manhattan, under Trump's proposals, you may very well actually not get a tax break because you live in those high tax places. But you know who's absolutely going to get a tax break, no matter where they live, are middle class people, the ones that still pay taxes. So this is tax relief for everyone, and it's economic growth that we so badly need. We got a great GDP print finally. That's good news. Things are getting better out there in the economy. That's also great news. Consumer confidence, 17-year high. Manufacturing index, all-time high. So good things are happening. If we just now add in, we've got a small fire burning. If we throw the gasoline of tax cuts on and tax reform, that fire turns into a big, wonderful bonfire. And we can do it, and we need it. We need economic growth in this country.
So if, you talk about the squishy Senate Republicans, what we found out with the Obamacare repeal and replace saga is you've just got a number of big government Republicans in both chambers, but most damagingly in the Senate. That's just a reality. And so they're, as you suggested, susceptible to class warfare demagoguery. They indulge it themselves. And so, so with respect to Trump, in the campaign, he talked about perhaps being willing to go after, say, cajillionaire hedge fund managers specifically, go after Wall Street for the benefit of Main Street. Do you think he's going to need, and should he do this if it's a necessity politically? Should he keep the top marginal rate where it's at? Maybe even have some kind of surcharge, different tax treatment for those hedge fund managers, and use that as a lever to flatten out and lower the rates, lower all the other rates, and get the lowest corporate rate possible.
Right. Should he, if necessary? Yes, I do believe so. And the carried interest deduction, which is the biggest loophole that benefits private equity and Wall Street people, hedge fund people. Right now, the White House's proposal is to eliminate that. Now, I'm not very optimistic that's going to get through Congress because I do think those folks have a lot of senators by the short hairs. But I hope it does, and it should. And yes, the problem with the complexity of our tax code is not just the taxes are too high, and they are, but it's also, and I'm so glad the president really spoke to this yesterday, just how complex they are. Albert Einstein, who we could all agree was a pretty smart guy, he once said, the hardest thing in the world to understand is the U.S. income tax code. So we shouldn't have to be world-class physicists to understand our taxes, particularly for sort of regular earning folks. It should be a one-page document that they can do themselves, that they don't need to hire an accountant. So who loves that complexity, though? The very wealthy, because quite frankly, they're the ones who are able, through skilled lobbyists, through lawyers, to manipulate the tax code and to create loopholes that they then benefit from. So giant corporations and extremely high net worth individuals love the complexity of the tax code, and that's why Donald Trump. And listen, I get the paradox here that it's a Manhattan billionaire is the one who is finally standing up, I think, for regular wage earners in America who are struggling, and that's, to me, of the many reasons that he won in 2016, the number one reason was the economic anxiety that people feel out there, that they see every day, struggling to pay their bills. And by the way, it's not just a matter of economic prosperity. I really believe that so many of the problems in our society today, so many of them are, at least in part, due to that economic anxiety. It exacerbates many other tensions. And I think one of the reasons we're so divided as a country is because of that economic angst. So I think growth solves many, many problems. We already are, as I said, we're seeing progress already. There's an optimism out there. You wouldn't know it if you listen to mainstream media, but there's an optimism in the country. Deregulation has already started. He was able to do much of that on his own by executive order. Now, if we throw in tax cuts, we really get this economy roaring like we haven't seen since the 1980s and 1990s. And once we do get that, if and when we get that, I think you're going to see a society that becomes a lot more cohesive. And I also think you're going to see a president who is really revered, even though right now he's largely reviled, particularly by mainstream.
And people really should take a look at their portfolios or their 401k. I mean, we're doing well.
Right.
I mean, the past 6 months, I've made more than I have the whole entire year before.
Right.
I'm not going to tell you my secrets, Dan. So don't look at me for any stock tips. But the stock, I mean, it's
you have somebody else invest your money. That's your
exactly.
secret.
That's my secret. But is Paul Ryan going to be part of this conversation when it comes to tax reform?
You know, I mean, certainly he'll be part of the conversation. I'm not a very big fan of leadership on the Hill, either on the Senate or the House side, to be very honest. Paul Ryan, I think, and Mitch McConnell are basically happy with the status quo. They'll never say that to us publicly, but I think their actions show it. Or they want to tinker around the edges. They want to do a very sort of traditional Republican tax cut, which is, we're going to move some rates, we're going to create some loopholes. At the end of the day, it doesn't do very much for working Americans, really helps a few special interests. That's what they did during the Bush years. There was actually a tax cut a year during the Bush years, but I don't think most Americans felt it or even knew it because they were those kind of tax cuts. It wasn't transformational. It wasn't true tax reform. So, but here's the thing. On the House side, at least, I think because House Republicans generally live in districts where they actually fear the president and his voters, on the House side, whether they want to or not, I think those House Republicans are going to get in line. The Senate's a very different story because many of them don't fear him at all in their home states, or they're not running for 4 or 6 years. So you have people like Corker in Tennessee who just seems to be obstructionist, quite frankly, toward the president. Certainly both Arizona senators, Flake and McCain, Heller in Nevada, so Collins in Maine. So there's a lot of Republicans who, in my opinion, aren't really Republicans. I think when it comes to the Senate, it's not so much Republican and Democrat. It's really Trump against Washington. And I have to admit, sadly, Washington's been winning, certainly won on health care. Washington loves the status quo on health care. Let's be honest about it. They do. K Street loves it. Obamacare is wonderful for K Street. Think of the lobbying money, the special interest for pharma, for big health care. They love Obamacare. But who doesn't? Regular people who can't go to their doctor anymore because their deductibles are stinking high. Same thing on taxes. Regular people who don't make very much money but have to hire an accountant and can't believe that they spend more on taxes than they do on food and clothing. This is lunacy. And Trump was elected not to do small things. That's why we as a people chose an outsider, someone who's never been in politics before, someone who's made his life in business, a mogul, a titan of industry, to go to Washington, again, not to tinker on the edges, but to smash this crony system. Now, is he going to succeed? I think so. But again, I'm worried. I'm cautiously optimistic. I'm worried about those Senate Republicans.
All right. He is Steve Cortes, Fox News contributor and former head of Trump's Hispanic Advisory Council. Steve, thanks for being with us. Appreciate it.
Thanks so much.
And he joined us on our Turnkey.pro answer line.
Hear about the big stories of the day, then talk about them right here on Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Coming up, a softer side of President Trump. Maybe Jeff Zelny from CNN was hopefully watching. But first, here's your forecast today. Plenty of sunshine right now. A few high clouds later, a high of 73 degrees. Tonight, clear, a low of 56. And for Friday, yes, Friday has arrived for a big, long Labor Day weekend. It'll be sunny tomorrow, cool, a high of just 70 degrees. Let's get into our Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center to a cool cat, Jim Talamonte. Huh?
Thank you, Amy. Good morning. Thanks, Dan. Good morning. Inbound Kennedy, your delays now start at Austin. It is 59 minutes, so here to downtown. 37 from Montrose, 34 in the Express, outbound 47 at the airport. At eastbound, spur delays now. That's not so cool. From Waukegan Road to the Aidens. Then it's just 23 minutes, Lake Cook to Montrose, and outbound 36. The Eisenhower. Travel time from Thorndale to the post office at 58 minutes, outbound 51. Stevenson, an hour and 2 minutes, 3:55 to the drive, outbound 39 minutes. Orion, 32 minutes, 95th to downtown. Tri-State southbound, we now see a delay, 21 to 176. Northbound, it's heavy, Harlem to 31st, and from the Reagan Tollway to North Avenue. Reagan Tollway slow, 25 to Winfield. Veterans Memorial from I-55 to the Reagan Tollway, from Butterfield to St. Charles, and North Avenue to 290. I'm Jim Talamonte in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center.
Hey, you've heard about our friends over there at Roland Jewelers in downtown Libertyville. They're well known for excellent customer service, including custom designs and jewelry repairs by their on-site expert craftsmen. Their knowledgeable and friendly staff always ensure that you feel like family when you're at Roland's. And now they're offering a special family incentive for our AM 560 listeners. 20% off jewelry repairs and custom designs. Just mention Dan and Amy and receive this exclusive offer. Roland's Jeweler has a large selection of beautiful engagement rings. It's a direct diamond importer, and they take advantage of wholesale prices on quality loose diamonds, as well as fine jewelry from designers like Hearts on Fire, Simon G., John Hardy, and Roberto Coin. And don't forget to mention us, Dan and Amy, for a special 20% off jewelry repairs and custom designs. Visit RolandJewelers.com. That's RolandJewelers.com, or call 847-918-7300. 847-918-7300. Roland's, a family-owned jeweler you can trust.
Hey guys, Ken here from the hit podcast Today's Growth. We all know increasing revenue's tough, but did you know that 100% of main sources of income fail? The odds are 100% that your current main source of income will someday no longer exist. 439 of 1955's original Fortune 500 are no longer around, yet their industries and even their product lines still thrive. What happened to these companies? Simple. They didn't believe that 100% of main sources of income fail. They never added a second revenue model. For years, my friends at Income Store have helped both households and businesses build second, third, and even fourth revenue streams. When it comes to helping people create their next revenue model, both Forbes and Inc. recommend Income Store as a can't miss. Could your household or business use an additional revenue model that doesn't solely depend on you? If so, you need to check out IncomeStore.com. That's IncomeStore.com.
Go to IncomeStore.com today. That's IncomeStore.com.
All right, I have to admit it was an eyesore, the chipping and paint peeling on our front and back porch. It looked awful, but thanks to CertaPro painters, the porch looks brand new. The painters who showed up were professional, respectful. They were done in just a few hours, and when they left, the house looked brand new. They really are the best in the business, and it's not too late to book your exterior painting project. There are several spots open on CertaPro's summer schedule. Here's an idea. Let CertaPro painters transform your home while you're on vacation and return to a freshly painted house. They're celebrating their 25th anniversary this year, and so we invite you to experience the CertaPro difference. For a free estimate, call 1-800-GO-CERTA, C-E-R-T-A, or visit CertaPro.com, that's Certa with the C. Get that painting project off your to-do list. Each CertaPro painter's business is independently owned and operated. CertaPro painters, we do painting, you do life.
Are you buying or selling a business or starting a business? Maybe you have legal problems with a business partner or employees, or are just drowning in new regulations. You need the support of a law firm that concentrates in a wide range of business law and tax matters. You need the corporate team at Kelleher and Buckley. Whether you're a local mom and pop shop, middle market business, or a large corporation or franchise, they provide cost-effective legal solutions to help your businesses thrive. The lawyers of Kelleher and Buckley focus on targeted legal advice tailored to meet the specific needs of your business. You deserve competent legal representation from a law firm maintaining a high level of knowledge about the ever-changing laws governing businesses. One that also includes accountants and tax specialists on board to provide your business bottom-line solutions. Kelleher and Buckley, LLC of North Barrington and Chicago is a legal solution provider that also includes estate planning, asset protection, life insurance planning, and litigation. Keep your business on track. Call 847-382-9130 or online at kelleherbuckley.com.
What do you call charging thousands of dollars for hearing aids? I call it outrageous, because hearing should not be a privilege for the rich. It's a basic right everyone deserves. Hi, I'm Dr. Cherakuri, board-certified ear, nose, and throat physician. If you or a loved one suffer from hearing loss but can't afford thousands for a hearing aid, I created MD Hearing Aid for you. A high-quality medical-grade hearing aid for a fraction of that price.
Try MD Hearing Aid at home, risk-free for 45 days. Call 1-800-300-0868.
No costly doctor's visit. No expensive and time-consuming fittings or appointments. No ugly, old-fashioned hearing aid that costs thousands. MD Hearing Aid is an FDA-registered, audiologist-tested hearing aid that's discreet and lets you hear what you've been missing at a savings of more than 80% off the average price of a traditional hearing aid.
Try MD Hearing Aid risk-free for 45 days. Call 1-800-300-0868. Plus, you'll get free shipping and free batteries for a year. 1-800-300-0868.
AM 560, The Answer.
Stan and Amy, all right, take a call on tax reform. Sean from Elmwood Park here on Chicago's Morning Answer.
You know, I got to tell you, Amy, I heard you talk about your stock portfolio. You know, about 50% of Americans have stock. That's it.
And about 50% of Americans pay taxes. That's it. Federal income
very
taxes.
Small percent. Yeah. You're exactly right. But this stock market is up on funny money. No one cares that we are still continuing the Keynesian economics. They're printing the money.
I care, Sean.
The credit is free. That's why the stock market is up. You know, Bitcoin's the hedge. Bitcoin had a $400 move yesterday.
Really?
That is an indicator that your currency is nonsense. So to point to economics and give Donald Trump credit for it as he continues on the Keynesian and his big idea is protectionism, your future's Venezuela with this idiot. The problem is, sure, they elected him because he ran against the most unlikable woman on the planet. That's it. He doesn't have carte blanche now to continue to manipulate our economy. And when you start talking about trade wars and protectionism and the deficits, it's a value. There's no such thing as a deficit. Listen to these propagandas talk about it. That's all they talk about, deficit. What's the deficit, your labor deficit with your landscaper? Just wrap your head around the truth and reject these propagandists because they're selling you confidence. False confidence.
All right, thanks for the call, Sean. Amy, just tell Sean you care about the money supply.
I care about the money supply.
All right, that'll
Coming
make
up
it feel
on
better.
Chicago's Morning Answer, the death toll rises in Houston, and President Trump gets emotional. But first, into the newsroom we go. Here is Mike Scott.
A beach hazard statement issued for Lake Michigan after a search continues for a lost swimmer on Lake Michigan. WIND Chicago News Time, 8 o'clock.
A new danger in the disaster in Texas. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. An incident at a flooded-out chemical plant in Crosby that's become volatile after losing power.
By all means, yes, the plume is incredibly dangerous.
FEMA Administrator Brock Long. That plume of smoke sickened sheriff's deputies overnight. Fox's Evan Brown live in nearby Houston.
Dave, that chemical plant stores materials that are certainly noxious but believed to be non-toxic. The storage and containment failed due to the facility being without power and waterlogged. Harris County Sheriff Ed Gonzalez.
Organic peroxides of different grades that were released, and it created a pop in the containers where they were being stored.
The resulting plume has forced evacuations. Officials say they've been aware of the plant's situation and that more of the compound could break containment if the storage systems aren't restored, Dave.
Evan, despite the sunshine, the flooding could still worsen.
It's a reservoir and river story now, especially over here in the Houston area.
That's Fox's Rob Schmidt next to the Brazos River in Richmond, which is about as high as it's ever been. And to the east,
they supply water to the city of Beaumont through pumps that are on the Neches River. Well, the storm destroyed those pumps. So now this morning, they would no longer have water supply to people's homes. So you got people that don't have power, likely don't have water now. And then you had the situation yesterday where we saw people were going to these shelters to get away from their homes because they couldn't be in their homes any longer. Well, the shelters start flooding out.
Well, thousands remain in shelters in southeast Texas. FEMA says 325,000 people have registered for disaster assistance. They provided $57 million so far. Harvey knocked more than a dozen oil refineries offline, sending gas prices higher. AAA's average is up a dime since last week. And now the government's taking action. The Energy Department will release a half million barrels of crude oil from the strategic reserve to be refined in Louisiana, the first such release since 2012. And news out on the economy showing Americans did more buying last month. Consumer spending rose 0.3%. Fox News, fair and balanced.
Skies are partly sunny, 67 degrees. Winds from the north at 11 miles an hour. It's 8:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. Residents of Chicagoland being warned about swimming in Lake Michigan. National Weather Service issuing a beach hazard statement until tomorrow afternoon because of life-threatening waves and currents expected. A swimmer's body has been recovered this morning after he jumped into Lake Michigan on Chicago's north side. Police say that a man and a woman entered the lake in the 5500 block of North Lakeshore Drive. The woman struggled to get out. The man could not. Divers began a search overnight, but were unable to find the swimmer and put off that search until the early morning hours this morning. After almost a year of fighting over school funding, Governor Bruce Rauner is not even waiting 2 days to sign the state's new school funding agreement into law. Governor puts his signature on that plan at about 2:30 this afternoon. An investigation is underway following a deadly shooting involving an off-duty Chicago police officer in Hazel Crest. Police Chief Mitchell Davis says 2 people tried to rob that officer after arranging a meeting online to buy a computer.
One of the subjects pulled a gun, and they proceeded to go through his pockets while they had the gun on him and take all of his personal possessions out of his pocket.
The officer then shot and killed one of the suspects while the other ran off. Chicago's Police Superintendent Eddie Johnson recovering following successful kidney transplant surgery yesterday at Rush University Medical Center. Cubs over the Pirates 17-3. Twins trounce the White Sox 11-1. The Bears wrap up the NFL preseason against the Browns tonight at Soldier Field. The news, a service of Napa Auto Parts with quality parts and more than 90 years of experience. Napa Auto Parts can help you keep your car on the road all summer long. So stop by your local Napa store and keep it running longer, stronger with Napa Know-How. 8:04, time for the AM 560 Business Beat from the Fox Business Network and a service of Turnkey.pro. Here's Jenny Casola.
From the Fox Business Network, General Electric is said to be planning significant job cuts to reduce costs. Reuters says GE has already stopped hiring for some technology positions. Reuters claims Chief Executive Officer John Flannery is telling senior-level executives to prepare for aggressive cuts at GE's headquarters and at unprofitable parts of the company. Analysts say GE needs the money to spend in its other businesses. Campbell's Soup is predicting its sales will decline this year. Its earnings for the recent quarter are down from a year ago. Dollar General, the dollar store chain, is reporting better than expected sales for the summer quarter. Its sales increased 8%. The company says more people were shopping at Dollar General and were spending more. The Dow closed up 27 on Wednesday. The Nasdaq added 66. The S&P was up 11. With the Fox Business Report, I'm Ginny Cosola.
When you have sleep apnea, traveling can be a real drag because you have to drag your big, bulky home CPAP device with you everywhere you go. But not anymore. Now you can travel easily and sleep comfortably anywhere thanks to Transcend, the world's very first mini CPAP. And right now, you can try Transcend absolutely risk-free for 10 restful nights. So call now, 1-800-600-3585. Our smallest and most advanced portable design ever, Transcend is as small as a soda can and weighs less than a pound. You can even add a battery that's as tiny as a deck of cards. Transcend is so incredibly small and light, you can easily fit it in your briefcase or purse to use anywhere you go. It's FAA compliant too, so you can even sleep comfortably while flying. Now you can enjoy the freedom to sleep comfortably anywhere. But don't delay. To receive your 10-night in-home trial, call minicpap.com now. 1-800-600-3585. Again, that's 1-800-600-3585.
Hi, I'm Jay Farner, CEO of Quicken Loans. Every day people ask me, Jay, did I miss out? Have the rates gone up? The answer is no. Rates are still low, and it's a perfect time to refinance your home, especially if your mortgage rate is higher than 4.25%. If you'd like to lower your interest rate and save thousands of dollars in interest without starting over on a new 30-year loan, a Quicken Loans Yorgage is what you're looking for. With our exclusive Yorgage, you can choose a term that works best for you, anywhere from 8 to 30 years. The rate today on an 8-year Yorgage is 3.25%, APR 3.75%. For 7 years in a row now, J.D. Power has ranked Quicken Loans highest in the nation for customer satisfaction for primary mortgage origination. And for the 4th year in a row, they've also ranked us highest in the nation for mortgage servicing. Call us today at 800-QUICKEN or go to QuickenLoans.com. That's 800-QUICKEN.
For J.D. Power award information, visit jdpower.com. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLSConsumerAccess.org number 3030.
It is 8:07, and a check of the roads in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center with Jim.
Thanks, Mike. Traffic is heavy on the eastbound Eden Spur from Waukegan Road to the Edens. Then it's 23 minutes, Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound 36. Inbound Kennedy, it's 59 minutes. O'Hare to downtown, 37 from Montrose, 34 in the Express. Outbound 26 to Montrose, 47 to O'Hare. Inbound Eisenhower, 56 minutes. Thorndale to the post office, 41 from Manheim. And outbound 56 to Thorndale. Stevenson, an hour and 2 minutes, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 38 minutes. The Ryan, 32 minutes, 95th to downtown. I-57, Bishop Ford, both 29 minutes from I-80 to the merge. Lakeshore Drive, southbound heavy around Fullerton, northbound slow Soldier Field to Jackson. Southbound Tri-State delays are from 21 to 176. Northbound 95th to 31st, and from the Reagan Tollway to North Avenue. Eastbound Adams Tollway slow lead to the Tri-State. Veterans Memorial slow. I-55 in pockets most of the way up to 290. Traffic answers when you need them most. Jim Talamonte on AM 560. The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast with our meteorologist, Michael Stack.
A shower early, then clouds giving way to some sunshine. Breezy and not as warm today. High 72. Mostly clear skies tonight. Low 56. Mainly sunny Friday. High 71. Saturday, plenty of sunshine. High 76. I'm Michael Stack on AM 560, The Answer.
And currently 67 at O'Hare. Next news at 8:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. And so what, Trump has now cleared Jeff Zelny's empathy threshold?
Yeah, well, he was just, once again, when he's in front of the people in Missouri yesterday talking about the tax reform plan and boosting up small businesses, he started off
talking about Houston.
Yeah, and the people there.
We must be vigilant. We must protect the lives of our people. I was on the ground in Texas yesterday to meet with Governor Abbott, who is doing, by the way, an incredible job, and local officials, so that we could coordinate the very big and unprecedented federal response. In difficult times such as these, we see the true character of the American people, their strength, their love, and their resolve. We see friend helping friend, neighbor helping neighbor, and stranger helping stranger. And together, we will endure and we will overcome.
No, I don't think that clears the Jeff Zelny CNN empathy standard.
All right, what about this part?
To those Americans who have lost loved ones, all of America is grieving with you.
There you go.
No, it's not. I mean,
that's not enough?
You know why? Because there's no such thing as Trump clearing any empathy standard set by CNN. But his remarks were appropriate.
Yes.
Now, he did not mention, but I will mention,
what?
The case of Charles Rogers and his dog, Blue.
Did you say Blue?
You're my boy, Blue!
Well, he sort of wasn't. This is a...
or is it for the listeners to decide?
This is a story that started to pick up in intensity because Blue is a 3-year-old pit bull, Charles Rogers' dog. And when Charles Rogers and his wife were rescued by rescue workers from their home, they took one of their dogs, but they couldn't get to Blue for whatever reason, so they left him behind. Blue managed to get to high ground, the top of a car, and ultimately, after some time, he was rescued. But people, about hearing this story, have been very critical of Charles Rogers for leaving his dog behind, and now there seems to be a controversy as to whether those who rescued him get to keep Blue, or should keep Blue, not get to, but should keep Blue, or should Blue be returned to Charles Rogers? We'll take your calls, 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. Here's the story.
I just jumped into survival mode.
Charles Rogers says rescuers gave his family only a few short minutes to evacuate his flooded neighborhood in Spring. He says he grabbed one of his small dogs, but agonized over leaving his 3-year-old pit bull named Blue.
My wife and them was just thinking the rescuers was going to go back and get him.
The dog somehow found a way over an 8-foot backyard fence and on top of a car to keep from drowning.
It was really heartbroken, to see him on top of the car like that,
Rogers saw a video of rescuers unsuccessfully trying to lure the scared dog onto a boat. He insists rescuers promised for more than a day to get the dog to safety.
They said they was going to bring the dog. We waited the whole night, They never brought him.
Rogers wants to thank the 2 volunteers on one of the last boats out for not giving up and saving his dog that he wants returned.
And all the backlash from social media, they abandoned their dog and, this and that. It's just not a true situation, We left on, on survival, on survival mode, and the mindset of the rescuers supposed to have been going back to rescue him, which they tried to, but they end up leaving him too.
Rogers told us that rescuers promised to return the dog, but they told us yesterday they plan to keep him. So we'll keep you updated on this story that millions of people are following.
So who should get
pit
Blue?
bull fight, a real pit bull fight, huh?
Who should get Blue, the rescuers or his owner, Charles Rogers? 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. What do you think?
Oh,
you're a dog owner.
I know, and I would never, ever, ever leave Bunky behind. Never. I'd save my dog, then my kids. No, I'm kidding. I would save my kids, then my dog, but I couldn't live with myself. I mean, I am so attached to that dog, and she's so attached to me that she probably wouldn't let me leave. She'd swim in the boat behind me, just in the water, just to be with me.
Sorry, Bunky, we got to cut you loose. I would.
What about with Hayek? What would you do?
I would allow him to use me as a flotation device.
See? There you go. Like the mom and her 3-year-old.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Oh, seriously? No.
No.
But I know what you're saying. Like, you kick into survival mode and you save things that you love, whether they be people or animals.
Now, I mean, again, we don't know the contextual factors. Like he said,
Blue
got in
is
survival mode, and the rescuers didn't give them much time to get out, is what Mr. Rogers said. So I don't want to pass judgment on him. But
the rescuers have already renamed him. They've renamed him Harvey. That's how much they want to keep him. That's what the CBS local at KHOU in Houston is reporting.
Uh-oh.
Sorry I interrupted you. But
no,
I mean, this breaking news, Blue has a new name, and it's Harvey. But the picture of him stranded on top of the car.
Well, in this neighborhood in Spring, Texas, I mean, it didn't. It's hard to say. So again, I'm not passing judgment on the owner. I think, look, the guy wants his dog, and there's no real evidence. But even if you say it was an error in judgment, there's no evidence he doesn't love his dog. He should get his dog back. That's what I think. But that neighbor. Well,
I'm looking at the water. I mean,
the question. Yeah, that's the question. Like, you couldn't grab. I mean, maybe he was at a place they didn't know where he was and they didn't have time. We just don't know. That's why I'm saying he should get his dog back, because there's no evidence like Blue was on the car and they just said, no, we'll see you later, Blue. Right? So there's no evidence they purposely left him behind. It was, a matter of circumstance, I suppose.
And they worked really hard. I mean, they worked for hours, these rescuers, to get Blue. I mean, they were throwing things. I'm watching this video right now. So yeah, I think that they feel part ownership because they were there for him and the owner wasn't.
Oh.
But his name is Harvey, and he shall be referred to as Harvey.
But the Good Samaritan thing to do, as the Cajun Navy guys, these Good Samaritans, is, of course, to return the dog to his owner.
I don't look like
3-year-old pit bull. He rescued the dog he could rescue. I don't know. I think the preponderance of the evidence is with Mr. Rogers, but I'll take opposing viewpoints on this. Let's go to Mike in Park Ridge. You're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Yeah, for the loser of this battle, I've got a 2-year-old golden doodle that I'd be willing to give my number to your producers and get rid of this thing. My wife won it in a charity auction.
Oh.
He eats my daughter's underwear and socks. He's caused like $50,000 in damage to my house, and they just got to come pick it up. And when my daughters aren't around, they're going to protest. But
Okay.
Wow, why don't you try?
Deal here.
Thanks for the call, Mike.
Wow, you think that guy doesn't? Do you think he'd leave his dog behind in a flood? Yes.
Do you think Charles Rogers is getting some heat on social media? If anybody found out who Mike in Park Ridge was, you're going to have Pete outside your home momentarily.
I don't like golden doodles. I understand what he's saying.
$50,000 in damage to his
you
home.
Yes.
That's a lot of golden doodle.
Well, they chew. They're
Well,
little chewers.
so
they
my
look
dog
so
chews.
nice, but they'll bite your face off. They'll chew up your.
So you just put stuff away,
No,
right?
you can't put away chairs. Like, for instance, when Bunky was teething, he tore up about 4 or 5 chairs.
You do what my grandparents used to do. You just put plastic over everything.
Oh, yeah. Oh, and on the carpet, too, the runners. Oh, that was great. Really comfortable during Thanksgiving. And in the summertime, when it was hot out, you'd stick to that thing.
All right. Who should get blue? Pete in Indian Creek.
Good morning.
Morning.
The Democrats would redistribute the dog. The Republicans would give it back to the owner.
There you go. Thanks for the call, Pete.
Making it political.
And economical. Oh, boy, listen to this email. No one should get blue. No one who owns a pit bull is caring or smart enough to know any dog, thus no one should own blue. The anti-pit bull crowd is weighing in. Oh, yeah, that was inevitable. Bill on the north side.
Yes, there was a lot of humans rescued in the Korean section of the Houston, but no dogs. There was no dogs to rescue in the Korean section.
Thanks for the call, Bill. Yeah, it's very, very good. Mark in Des Plaines, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
This is the stupidest story I've ever heard. Look at all the time and effort, the Rogers have invested in this dog. They should get the dog back. My goodness, can people ever get their heads straight? This whole country is upside down, just like a bad car loan. Oh, my gosh.
Thanks for the call, Mark, and the simile. Bob in Dundee.
Yeah, I agree with the last caller and you, Dan. There's no evidence that the guy left the dog intentionally, but even if he did make a decision to abandon the dog in favor of his wife and kids, I mean, that's the priority. But am I going to go into your house if you abandon it during a flood and find your $5,000 Rolex and I get to keep it because, hey, you abandoned it, right?
Good point.
We got people dying in foreign countries from our military, and we're talking about this crap. We got Antifa running loose with their violent activity, and we're worried about a dog.
Well, thanks for the call, Bob. Yeah, we're worried about. We can be worried about both, and then we can have them properly prioritized. But it's an interesting story. Put yourself in that position too. I mean, I don't want to make that Sophie's Choice comparison. But
I think they made a choice, and they chose the small dog, the cute dog, the dog with the bow.
I don't know.
And the little purse dogs. I hate purse dogs. But think about it. Blue jumped over that 8-foot fence to jump on top of that car, and the water was flowing pretty heavily from this video that I'm watching here.
Tweet: if rescuers keep Blue, doesn't that make them de facto looters? Right. That was the point that our caller Bob from Dundee was making too. Alec and Zion, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hi, Dan. Hi, Amy. So I believe the owner should get the dog. Why not? They've already spent 3 years with the dog. These rescuers had the audacity to name it Harvey. That's disgusting.
Yeah.
Why would you name it after a natural disaster? That's horrible. That tells you how much they love the dog. And the fact that all these callers are saying, I have a dog, they had 2. So like you guys said, you don't know the full story. You don't know about, what they had to choose and how hard it was. I mean, you guys are talking about one dog. They had 2. So put yourselves in their shoes.
Yeah,
and,
I know. Yeah.
Well, I have a cat and a dog, and I'd probably leave my cat.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
The dog can swim. Oh, no, Bunky can't swim because he's a bulldog.
Bulldogs sink. That's why they wear life jackets. But I'd strap the life jacket on Bunky and make her swim because she can swim. She's really good at.
Why don't you just put little floaties on Bunky's limbs, and then you can give the life jacket to the cat.
Speaking of Bunky, Bunky will be in tomorrow.
I can't wait. Andy in Hanover Park.
Hey, if there's a raging fire in a house and the husband leaves and the firemen rescue the wife and she's hot, do they get to keep her?
They do.
Oh, hey,
Thanks for the call. Andy, that's
nice.
so misogynistic. That assumes that a wife is chattel. Just a man's
we're not
property.
just a piece of meat,
How
buddy.
dare you, Andy?
Please.
Listen to podcasts of Dan and Amy from the AM 560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
All right, what? Read that. What do you got there, boss?
We got a tweet. We were in the Big Thompson flood in 2013 and had to leave our cats behind, but managed a 40-mile hike over the back canyon the next day. I'm not going to disclose this person's name for fear that she will suffer social media backlash for telling that story.
Today we're going to have sunshine, which we have right now, a few high clouds. It's breezy out there, a high of 73 degrees. Tonight, clear, a low of 56. And for tomorrow, mostly sunny, pleasant, a high of 70 degrees. Let's get into our Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. Here's Jim Telemonte.
Thanks, Amy and Dan. Highland Park crash on southbound 41 at 22. The Eden Spur is heavy eastbound starting at Waukegan Road. Then it's 23 minutes from Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound 37. The Kennedy, 59 minutes O'Hare to downtown, outbound 47. The Eisenhower, 58 minutes Thornhill to the post office, outbound 56. The Stevenson, an hour and 2 minutes, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 38 minutes. The Ryan is 32 minutes, 95th to downtown, a little quicker in the Express. Southbound Lakeshore Drive now has delays Wilson to North Avenue, northbound from Soldier Field to Jackson. Southbound Tri-States, low 21 to 176, northbound 87th to 31st. And from the Reagan Tollway to North Avenue, see delays on the Veterans Memorial from I-55 most of the way to St. Charles and North Avenue to 290. Jim Talamonte in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center.
A storm is on the horizon, and you need to keep the lights on no matter what. Your business relies on the power being on 24/7. It's the lifeblood of your data and computer systems. Weather-related outages from the power company are not acceptable. Your need for a source of power that's reliable 24/7, along with round-the-clock service that can dispatch technicians to your site immediately, is mission critical. Your business needs Charles Equipment Energy Systems on speed dial. These are the big boys, not residential or solar, but reliable industrial generators for emergency backup or events. When you need more than a 100-foot extension cord plugged into a small engine generator, call Charles Equipment Energy Systems. They keep the lights on with rental generators for job sites or power outages. The storm season is here. Plan ahead. Call now to prepare generators for sudden damage and potential power outages. Call 630-834-6000. That's 630-834-6000 or charlesequipment.com. charlesequipment.com.
Policies issued by American General Life Insurance Company, Houston, Texas. Not available in all states. For details, visit AIGdirect.com.
If you're young and healthy, you don't need life insurance, right? Yeah, that's what I used to think too, until my brother died at 38. Joe left his wife with 2 kids, a mortgage, and a stack of bills she couldn't pay. Mary had to sell the house and move everybody into this tiny 2-bedroom apartment just to make ends meet. I never want to do that to my wife, so I got life insurance. I called AIG Direct and was really surprised how affordable it is. Just $14 a month for $250,000 of term life coverage. Listen, if you have a family, you should seriously think about getting life insurance. You'll feel a lot better having it, trust me.
Call AIG Direct for a free no-obligation quote. The call takes less than 5 minutes, and you could save up to 70%. Call now, 1-800-700-5593. That's 1-800-700-5593. 1-800-700-5593.
Does how you feel interfere with your lifestyle? Take control before it does. Harvard Medical recently published a paper on how to decrease your risk of cancer, heart disease, blood pressure, diabetes, bowel and vision problems. The answer, backed by dozens of studies, is not vitamins. It's eating more fruits and vegetables in their whole, complete form. 4 simple tips that I've used with my patients over the years are: 1. Keep fruits and vegetables where you can see them readily. 2. Get crazy. Explore the produce aisle and choose something new. 3. Make it a meal. Try new recipes that include more vegetables and fruits. And the easiest of all, to get the complete nutrition of 31 different fruits and vegetables every day, take Balance of Nature.
What are you waiting for? Don't miss your opportunity to get a free month supply of Balance of Nature. Call 1-800-2468-751 or go to balanceofnature.com.
Use promo code Chicago.
Napa know-how.
There are lots of amazing cars on the road, but perhaps none more amazing than the paid-off car. It may not be pretty, but the price is right. Heck, if you keep that thing running, it'll actually start paying you. Because with Napa Rewards, for every $100 you spend, you'll get $5 off. So keep your car running longer, stronger with Napa Rewards and watch the savings start rolling in. That's Napa know-how.
Napa know-how.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
It's the Labor Day sale at Ace. Now through Monday only, buy 2 gallons of our top paint brands, Valspar, Clark & Kensington, and Royal, and get the 3rd gallon free. And with the Ace Extra Mile promise, if it ever takes more than 1 trip to complete your paint project, we'll bring you what you need and delivery's free. Don't miss the buy 2 get 1 free paint sale, only at Ace.
Limit 2 free gallons of equal or lesser value. Prices may vary. Delivery subject to availability. Visit acehardware.com for more details.
When Hurricane Harvey struck Texas and the Gulf Coast over the weekend, the world turned upside down for children and families in its path. When disaster strikes, children suffer in unimaginable ways, and Save the Children is there to meet their unique needs. Even now, Save the Children is in Texas and along the Gulf Coast, making sure hurt and frightened children impacted by Hurricane Harvey get the help they need. To care for and protect children has been the mission of Save the Children for nearly 100 years, so when tragedies like Hurricane Harvey strike, they're prepared and they're on the ground for children and their families around the world and right here at home. Your $50 right now to Save the Children will deliver essential supplies for families forced to evacuate, including hygiene kits, blankets, portable cribs, and strollers. Children are counting on us. Call 888-248-0312. That's 888-248-0312. Or give online right now at savethechildren.org/radio.
Message and data rates may apply.
Attention, it is illegal to text and drive. So if you're experiencing hair loss and you want a permanent solution, please pull over now, because an incredible offer that could give you your hair back is just one text away. Bosley is America's #1 hair restoration expert, always pioneering the latest technology. And now we're giving everyone who texts GROW to 543-543 an absolutely free information kit that reveals just how easy and affordable this permanent solution really is. Don't wait. When you text GROW to 543-543, we'll also give you a gift card for $250 off. Millions of men and women have come to Bosley for a permanent solution to hair loss. So pull over now and see for yourself how great your hair could look with an absolutely free information kit. Text GROW to 543-543. Plus, get a free gift card. This amazing offer is just one text away. GROW to 543-543.
AM 560.
The Answer. Dan and Amy,
All right, what do you got?
some final words of wisdom on the blue controversy. Text from 847, let's send Mitt Romney down with the family truck, strap blue on the roof and bring him home.
Too soon. And
then what? I'm sorry?
Oh, I'm sorry. It was a true story. The dog was sick. He had diarrhea.
Finally, the Solomonic wisdom of Ann B. Davis's bowling ball. Suggests cutting the dog in thirds, with a third going to the owner, a third to the rescuers, and the tasty third to Obama.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
We continue Criminal Justice Week with Professor Carl Hart, the chairman of the psychology department at Columbia University, talking about criminal justice reform. That's at 8:38.
And later, a woman at a Houston shelter breaks out in song. But first, into the newsroom we go. Here's Mike Scott.
67 degrees, mostly sunny skies at the moment. Beaumont, Texas has lost its water supply because of Tropical Storm Harvey. The city lost service from its main pumping stations. They're flooded out. At least 2 explosions have hit a chemical plant near Houston that's essentially been crippled by Harvey. The blast happened this morning near the Arkema plant in Crosby. Matt Dempsey was on hand. He's a reporter with the Houston Chronicle newspaper.
At least 2 experts that I talked to said that they should have had, and it would have been standard operating procedure
for a facility like this to have some sort of compound to quelch the organic peroxides, essentially make it so that the explosion risk, fire risk, was not there.
Vice President Mike Pence travels to Texas later today for a close look at Harvey's devastation. Federal judge in San Antonio temporarily blocks Texas from implementing their law targeting sanctuary cities. It was set to go into effect on Friday. A U.S. coalition is trying to keep ISIS fighters from evacuating the border region between Syria and Lebanon. About 600 fighters are trying to leave. It's part of a temporary truce with Lebanon, the Syrian army, and Hezbollah. People here in the Chicago area being warned to stay away from Lake Michigan. National Weather Service issuing a beach hazard statement until tomorrow afternoon because of life-threatening waves and currents. A swimmer's body has been recovered after jumping into Lake Michigan on Chicago's north side early this morning. A woman who entered the lake with that man was able to get out. The man could not. A CPS special education teacher is accused of dealing ammunition and gun accessories on the south side. Brent Turpin faces multiple charges, including conspiracy to dispose of a firearm and ammunition to a known felon. Turpin has been suspended from teaching at Kershaw Elementary School. A former Wheaton College professor on probation for having child pornography is headed to prison. Donald Ratcliffe was sentenced in DuPage County Court to 3 years behind bars for violating his own probation for downloading a movie that featured images of naked children. Checking your money on Wall Street, we're watching Caterpillar stock this morning, trading higher on news. The company will build tractors for the U.S. military, a big $663 million contract. That work will be done at Cat's East Peoria facility. Cubs over the Pirates 17-3. Twins trounce the White Sox 11-1. And Mitch Trubisky gets the full gears of the first-team offense tonight as the Bears wrap up the preseason against the Browns at Soldier Field. The news, a service of Kohl's. Don't miss Kohl's Labor Day weekend sale, Thursday through Monday. Take an extra $10 off when you spend $25 or more with promo code TAKE10. Everyone gets $10 Kohl's cash for every $50 spent. See store or Kohls.com for details. 8:33 is our time. We'll have a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Mike Gallagher says it's not time to play politics.
I run away from the politicizing of natural disasters. I hate political gamesmanship that people engage in. This is not a time for that. Right now, the people of Texas need our help, need our prayers, and we don't need to point any fingers of blame.
The Mike Gallagher Show, weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Papa Nicholas Coffee. Papa Nicholas Coffee, roasted fresh daily in Batavia, Illinois.
I don't get why so many people still have old-school home security systems.
Meet Ryan, a police officer, not an actor.
Expensive contracts, false alarms, easy to disable. I wouldn't own one.
Like so many officers, Ryan chose Blink Home Security.
Blink got home security right. They're discreet, super affordable video cams you install yourself in minutes. They're wireless and run on 2 batteries that last 2 years. Blink is motion activated, so when it detects something in or around my home, it sends a video alert to my smartphone. If it's a threat, I call 911. And Blink's live feed option is total peace of mind. It lets me check in on my smartphone from anywhere. So I know when my kids get home, doors are locked, everything's code 4.
Cameras start at just $99. Order now and get 10% off at blinkprotect.com/radio. 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 Officer endorsement compensated.
8:35 and a check of your ride to work this morning in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. Here's Jim.
Like the Edens inbound, it's just a bit heavy from Foster to Montrose. It's 21 minutes from Lake Hook to the junction, outbound 35. Inbound Kennedy, delay started Austin, 59 minutes, still the travel time. O'Hare to downtown, 37 from Montrose, 34 in the Express, and outbound 47 to the airport. Inbound Eisenhower, it is an hour and 2 minutes. Thorndale to the post office, 45 minutes from Manheim, outbound 50 from Thorndale. Stevenson, an hour and 2 minutes, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 38 minutes. to Ryan. 31 minutes, 95th to downtown. How about 15? Delays on Lakeshore Drive are southbound Wilson to North Avenue, northbound around Soldier Field to Jackson. Tri-state delays now early northbound, 87th to 31st, and from the Reagan Tollway to North Avenue. But Adams Tollway stop and go lead to the Tri-state. Reagan Tollway from the Aurora Toll to Eola. The Veterans Memorial from I-55 to the Reagan Tollway. The Army Trail Toll to 290. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast. Clouds will break, breezy conditions, high 73, mainly clear and 56 overnight. Currently 68. Next news coming up at 9. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Power Trading Radio. Heard Sundays at 2 p.m. Brought to you each week by Online Trading Academy.
Oliver North, Dinesh D'Souza, Larry Elder, and many more are coming to Freedom Summit Chicago 2017 on November 11th. Get your tickets today at freedomsummitchicago.com.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. It's Criminal Justice Week on Chicago's Morning Answer. We spoke with Fordham Law Professor John Pfaff yesterday. And this next gentleman we're going to speak with was featured prominently in the documentary I've referred to a couple times on this show in advance of the guests we've had on this week, and will continue tomorrow. Actually, we'll have the documentarian himself, Eugene Jarecki. The documentary is The House I Live In, and it explores the criminal justice system from a lot of angles. Not every angle, but a lot of angles, because there's a lot of players, there's a lot of institutions, and it's complicated. And it's specific to the drug war launched during the Nixon administration and how it's been prosecuted over the intervening 4.5 decades. I want people to kind of be thinking about the implications of something John Pfaff said yesterday. And this is writ large with the prison population, not just with drug offenders. The idea that, yes, we want to punish people, because that's part of justice. It's supposed to be restorative as well as retributive. But this idea that even a violent criminal is convicted and sent to prison, therefore we wash our hands and we say, okay, well, we're done with that predator. The average prison term, 4 years, not 30 years. Right. So people are going to cycle out of prison, and that's part of the discussion, too, thinking about how we want to treat different classes of persons who commit crimes.
And in the fourth of them, they return to prison.
Well,
because there's no rehabilitation.
Well, there's the recidivism rate. I think it's higher than that, depending on the crime. But yes, and I think you start from the premise, at least I try to, that very few people are born drug dealers. Very few people are born drug abusers. Yes, are people born where there is something mentally deficient and they're sociopaths and society needs to be protected from them?
And then there's a genetic makeup where you might be more prone to drug addiction or alcohol abuse.
So there are examples of that, but but that doesn't explain the 6 million odd individuals in state and federal prisons. So with that, I want to turn to our guest. He is Professor Carl Hart. He is the chairman of the Department of Psychology at Columbia University. He's also the author of the book High Price, A Neuroscientist's Journey of Self-Discovery that Challenges Everything You Know About Drugs and Society. Professor Hart, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
So I appreciated you being featured in The House I Live In, and some very poignant moments, too, for those who haven't seen it. I, again, encourage people to see it, including being reunited with your son and the self-reflection that engender that was captured nicely by Eugene Jarecki in the movie. And I wonder if you could explain a statement that you made in the film, and I think you've made previously in some of your other work, that we should pursue drug policy consistent with science. What do you mean by that?
Well, I wrote a whole book on it called High Price, and so if people want to delve into this deeper, you can understand it from that perspective. It's simple. Just any public policy, not only drug policy, should be based on evidence, based on science, facts, and not anecdote and people's sort of personal feelings. That's a simple sort of thing. And we know quite a bit about drugs. We know quite a bit about drugs, the drugs that people use recreationally, because your tax dollars support research to understand these drugs. So people like me, who also is a research scientist, we give thousands of doses of drugs like crack cocaine, marijuana, methamphetamine, heroin, as part of our research to understand better what these drugs do. That is, under what conditions we can expect negative effects and under what conditions we can expect positive effects. And we also give these drugs to better develop treatment for people who may be struggling with drug addiction. So we know quite a bit, but that knowledge hasn't been translated into public policy.
Well, who knows more about marijuana, scientists or the feds?
I don't understand that the two are not necessarily separate, because the Fed funds much of the work with marijuana, and many people who are scientists work in the federal government.
Well, give me an example of a policy that would be consistent with the science we know to be true that is not currently drug policy in this country.
Well, when we say things like, for example, some drug is more addictive than anything we've ever seen, that's just simply not true, and it leads us to restrict those drugs in certain types of ways, in ways that are unrealistic in sometimes. But let me just give you a specific policy that's related to what the country is concerned today when we think about opioids, the concern with opioids. We are concerned about not so much addiction, although addiction does occur, but that's a relatively low rate, even though the media has exaggerated this. But the major concern we're concerned with is overdose death. Right. And people are dying from opioid-related deaths because in some cases they get they may get unknowingly a drug called fentanyl, which is about 50 to 100 times more potent than heroin. They may think that they have heroin and they snort too much or they inject too much, thinking that they have heroin, and they set themselves up for an overdose, and sometimes they die. Now, one way we can deal with the adulterants being put in drugs is to simply set up in neighborhoods and communities free drug testing purity centers, such that people will know what is in their various drugs that they may purchase. Yeah, drugs are illegal, but if the goal is to keep people safe and live another day, this is a simple fix. This is a fix that occurs in other countries like Spain, like the Netherlands. These countries are more concerned about keeping their people safe. And we can do the same thing here.
So that sounds like, would a government agency do that, where they'd screen the drugs to make sure they're safe?
Well,
or the FDA?
You don't need a. I'm talking about illegal drugs that people may purchase on the street, the ones that they are dying from. You don't need a government agency. You can set this up in cities. You can just have. There are, for example, in Chicago, University of Chicago, there are labs at the University of Chicago that can do drug testing to test to see if these drugs, street drugs, contain adulterants, and they can inform people in the city, in your city. This is not complicated.
Oh, so you're not talking about like a decriminalization centers for the administration of these drugs. You're talking about essentially connecting scientists to what's happening at the street level so that information can be disseminated.
Yeah, they don't necessarily have to be scientists. They just need to know how to run the machine.
Right, okay.
And inform people. But we certainly can talk about decriminalization. We can talk about all those sort of things, because those are other strategies that we can implement. But I was just talking about one area, if we're talking about
one
keeping
aspect
people
of it.
alive.
Yeah. I want to take a step back and talk about drug laws more generally. I thought there was an interesting argument that was made in the documentary about the history of drug laws in this country, and the suggestion is that drug laws have been targeted at particular new groups of people in this country. It was first going after opium dens with the Chinese, and then it was drug laws targeting Mexicans, and then the way Eugene Jarecki treats African Americans is essentially as an immigrant group that migrated to the north. Then it was targeting blacks, and now talking about the meth problems, it's whites. So kind of every group gets its turn depending on the particular perspective of the powers that be, is the argument that's made, and some of the sentencing disparities and penalties associated with different drug law violations was the evidence presented. I mean, is that a fair representation of the history of drug laws in this country, in your opinion?
Well, it's bordering on fairness, but be careful with this immigrant sort of story. Understand too that documentary films they only have a short amount of time to tell a story, and so the filmmaker is restricted. It's not documented. I mean, it's not necessarily that people are immigrant groups. It is mainly out groups, people who are on the outs of a society. That's the major concern.
Right.
So when we think about, like you started the segment off by saying that the war on drugs began in 1971 with Nixon, I know that's what people say, but that's just not true. The war on drugs really began in earnest in the United States in 1914 with the first national drug laws banning opioid products as well as cocaine, and that was specifically targeting black people and targeting certain groups of Chinese folks. But so they targeted these sort of laws, or the enforcement of these laws targeted these groups in part because they were despised, and it was just one policy that went after despised group. We can think about other policies that may go after despised groups or groups on the margins. That's just how law enforcement works in general, in part because that's where you put most of your law enforcement resources. You put the police in these communities, and what do you expect to find besides some crime? I mean, that's just how it is. I live in a fairly middle-class neighborhood, and we don't have law enforcement oppressively enforcing laws like they might be in some other communities.
But let me ask you this though. And I take your point about the drug war starting with Nixon, but kind of the modern incarnation of it that's really, it seems to expand it. With respect to what's happened over the last 45 years, one of the things that Michael Javon Fortner, per his research over at CUNY, has found, going back to the Rockefeller laws in New York, where there really was a crackdown on drug use, it was middle income and aspirational black families that wanted stiffer drug penalties because they wanted the gangs and the associated drugs out of their neighborhoods. It wasn't like this was Nelson Rockefeller's great insight into the human condition. He was responding in part to political pressure from black families. So is it more complicated than just kind of the powers that be versus the other?
Well, no, be careful there, because that research that you just cited is short-sighted in that black people at the same time were asking for jobs, a better education, a wide range of things in the community. They didn't get those things, and they also asked for making sure that the community would be rid of criminals, and the only thing they got was that sort of enforcement of drug laws. So that's not entirely an honest or an objective analysis of what happened. I mean, even today, there are people, black folks, just like white folks in this country, or just like Asian, just like Latino folks. They want to make sure their neighborhood and their communities are safe.
Right, of course.
That's today. But to single out like black folks with this sort of the war on drugs, that's just simply, I mean, there were black people at that period during the Rockefeller law time, 1973, when it was passed. There were black people who absolutely were in support of that law being passed, just like there were prominent black people in support of the law that punished crack cocaine 100 times more harshly than powder cocaine. There were people like Charlie Rangel, who was a longtime congressman from Harlem.
Yeah.
A lot of Jesse Jackson, Chicago Jesse Jackson, played a prominent role in making sure that the crack powder law got passed. A number of these folks, but please understand, they were also advocating for other things.
No, of course. Yeah, of course.
People make mistakes, and people have since said, yo, that was a mistake. We need to do something about it. And it has taken forever for anything to be done about those sorts of things.
Well, so if you were, redesigning the criminal justice system from the ground up, at least as it pertains specifically to drug laws, so much time is focused on minimum mandatory sentencing, prosecutorial discretion. That's a focus of particular Professor Pfaff's work. The disparities in sentencing, as you were describing, crack versus powdered cocaine. Would it be what you just described at the outset, just kind of science-driven policy that focuses on treatment and information and less of the criminalization, even with funding for addiction treatment as part of it? Or how would you conceive it?
Yeah, we have to be careful with this treatment versus criminal justice frame. That frame misses the vast majority of people who use drugs. The vast majority of people who use drugs don't have a problem. They don't need treatment. They don't need law enforcement. So I would start there. I would take a step back and think about the fact that, okay, people are using drugs. People have used drugs since humans have inhabited the earth. And so why are we punishing people so harshly for this activity? And I would reconsider the punishment, and I would, first of all, decriminalize all drugs. That is, I would treat drugs just like we treat traffic violations. People may receive a civil penalty or a fine, but they will not receive criminal sanctions. So that would just stop all of those types of arrests. This is what has happened in about 20 countries around the world, including Portugal, the Czech Republic, Spain, a wide range of countries, and they don't have large numbers of people in their jails for drug-related violations, as we do in this country. In part, we have people in jail for drug-related violations, or we arrest people where they face criminal sanctions because we have this unrealistic view about what drugs do and don't do to people.
He is Professor Carl Hart. He's the chairman of the Department of Psychology at Columbia University. He's also the author of the book High Price, a neuroscientist's journey of self-discovery that challenges everything you know about drugs and society. Professor Hart, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
There's only one radio show in Chicago talking about today's biggest stories and telling you what they really mean. That show is this one, Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
Napa know-how.
There are lots of amazing cars on the road, but perhaps none more amazing than the paid-off car. It may not be pretty, but the price is right. Heck, if you keep that thing running, it'll actually start paying you. Because with Napa Rewards, for every $100 you spend, you'll get $5 off. So keep your car running longer, stronger with Napa Rewards, and watch the savings start rolling in. That's Napa Know-How.
Napa know-how.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
It's the Labor Day sale at Ace. Now through Monday only, buy 2 gallons of our top paint brands, Valspar, Clark & Kensington, and Royal, and get the 3rd gallon free. And with the Ace Extra Mile promise, if it ever takes more than one trip to complete your paint project, we'll bring you what you need and delivery's free. Don't miss the buy 2, get 1 free paint sale, only at Ace.
Limit 2 free gallons of equal or lesser value. Prices may vary. Delivery subject to availability. Visit acehardware.com for more details.
As a parent, you want what's best for your children. That means sending them to a school where they'll get the superior education they deserve, and that also shares your values. That can be tricky these days, as public schools have changed and private schools can be expensive. Your household budget has already been cut to the bone, and it's hard to imagine where you'll find that extra money. Well, there's help to lessen that financial burden and provide your child with the very best education at half the cost. At AM 560, The Answer, we work with private schools throughout the Chicagoland area to provide tuition for families at half the normal cost. Just log on to halfpriceschools.com and you'll find some of Chicagoland's finest private schools, from preschool all the way through high school, at half the cost. And chances are there's a school right in your neighborhood. Invest in your child's education and future at halfpriceschools.com. A limited number of half-price vouchers are available. Go to halfpriceschools.com now.
You are about to hear from Dr. Douglas Howard.
After 20 years and tens of thousands of success stories, Balance of Nature is still the only pure whole food supplement available. Balance of Nature has served more than 500 million servings of fruits and vegetables. Don't accept imitations, copies, or substitutions. Our success stories are unique to Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies. You'll know you have the real thing when you open